Kansas City.
Isn't this a sports show?
Clinton has said, accurately, I might add, on the Facebook page. Almost Entirely Sports, a show where Josh reads all of his tweets, and I have no counter-argument to that. That is true and fair.
Almost entirely.
Excuse me. I'm talent. I'm talent, sir. Unhand me.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
I am Joshua Brisco, Rudy with the reverse slam, Beard with a judgmental gaze. What's up, Beard? How you doing?
I'm here.
Take the show with you by listening on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app at 810WHB.com or by searching for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Is this the most important thing I could be talking about? Well, I mean, probably not. Debatable.
This is Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
We got a little bit of news. We got a whole handful of things we haven't talked about yet this week. We've got a couple of illustrious guests. That's how we're going to wrap up this week of Almost Entirely Sports. I'm Joshua Brisco, Rudy Salazar right here on the other side of the console. Beards McFly on the other side of the glass. And I can't get the video feed pop up on my monitor in here. And I got it. Look at that. Look at me. Look at us. Beards, am I a little off-center to you? I'm working on it.
Is it a little loud?
Beard, I think the volume is great. I want you to know that I think the volume is great.
Thank you. It is good.
We will. Oh, I popped up another 100 followers on Twitter. Not 100 followers, but I went to a new metric at some point today. There, 12.3 thousand. Thank you very much.
Almost nice.
I'm not
1, 2,
quite.
3.
I mean, it is 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that is in fact nice.
It's a different kind of nice, but it's nice.
I believe that we either have breaking news or it will. Oh, it has landed. It is official. We have a champion in our Almost Entirely Sports Poke Bracket. Beards, do you have the music? You have the music that I did not tell you that we need ahead of time?
No, you didn't tell me that.
Well, I told you last night.
Was it Rowlet?
I told you last night.
Hang on, I'll get it
Agumon
up.
is the champion.
I'll get
We'll
it
give
up.
you that in a second. It has just gone final. It has just gone final, and I will be tweeting out the officially finalized bracket.
All right, you ready?
Because I was prepared. Breaking news at the
Rowlet-
start of the show.
Rowlet's the best Pokemon.
Beards, can I get the breaking news sound effect first, please?
Yes, you
Breaking
can.
news at the start of the show.
As soon as I get to the page.
Breaking news. The champion of the Almost Entirely Sports Poke Bracket in a sizable victory in the national championship game with 66.5% of the votes.
Dang.
Nearly got Larry Johnson involved in that percentile. Charizard defeats Pikachu in the Poke Bracket. Congratulations to Charizard. We now go live to Charizard for his acceptance speech. And cut. Thank you, Charizard, for your beautiful comments. That was touching. The way you thanked your mother. She's the real MVP. Wow.
And that poor reporter is on fire.
And that reporter has turned into ashes.
Well,
From
into
ash to ashes.
Turned into ash.
Ash to ashes. He
Ash
tried to
Ketchum.
catch them all.
Couldn't catch them all.
His last name is Ketchum.
But he couldn't catch them all. That last one.
Because that last one lit him on fire.
Yeah. He tried.
So there you go. That long national nightmare is over. If you love Pokemon, that bit unfortunately is gone. If you don't really give a bleep about Pokemon, congratulations, you're welcome.
We're going to stop talking about Pokemon in this show.
Well,
There's a game coming out at the end of the month. Please.
oh, that's a great point. But I told you that would be finalized at the beginning of tonight's show. We
Okay.
had it all lined up.
Now Gen 2.
Sizable victory for
That's
Charizard.
next year.
We might. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll
Summer
see.
might get bad.
It was the summer might need it. That's fair if the Royals don't win more baseball games. And also, most importantly, it was just a decent amount of work making that bracket every bleeping round.
I mean, I didn't find it that challenging.
No?
Personally.
No, Beards. How was it for you? Was that ever a challenge for you?
It was nice and quite
Yeah.
pleasant. Yeah. Relaxing.
Yeah.
Well,
2 to 3, I think, or 2 to
Yeah.
1. I think we win the vote here. Gen 2.
Starting tomorrow.
Yep. Monday when we have a show.
See that. Get your work in.
So that's finalized. A handful of things we'll talk about over the course of the show. It's Friday, so we got Mick Shaffer, 41 Action News. He'll close out the show with us at 9 o'clock tonight. Last hour with Mick, the final of the week. And also here in a little under an hour, we'll chat with Alec Lewis of The Athletic. There's no Royals game tonight. My apologies. I'm sorry for asking them to not have games on Fridays, but they don't have one. And that means we can dig in a little bit with Alec, not have to worry about him covering the game or waiting on his Zoom or coming up with a brilliant way to ask Mike Matheny or really a brilliant way to ask Brad Keller if he's feeling right, which is a tough needle to thread after his his first two and last two starts were a mess. So we'll talk to Alec about a whole bunch of those things in a little while. Also, over the course of this hour, there's just a bunch of stuff that has sort of fallen down the Google Doc sheet for this show, and I'm bringing a bunch of them up to the top because I want to talk about them over the course of this hour as we head into the end of the week. Because there wasn't like any big piece of Chiefs news today, which is we're getting nearer and nearer to a point where that's going to become the default more than the exception. It's been quiet now for a while. I'm not super worked up about their special teamer fullback, and I'm not super worked up at this point anymore about Austin Blythe or Jaron Reed. We can talk about the vacancies still on the left tackle position, but that's not new. We've been talking about that now since they cut Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz, so we'll get to some of those things. Also, I think that there's some stuff around the NFL draft that's kind of interesting. The real news of the day is still, I definitely want to mention it here at the top because it is the news of the sports world today, but it's still, and this probably is never really going to stop being this way. It's all still very murky. We've got over the last 48 hours, certainly, the ball has moved quite a bit on the Deshaun Watson story, where you've had we heard from Rusty Hardin, his lawyer today. We've heard from Tony Busby and a couple of the victims who came forward to speak to the media yesterday. We do know now that the alleged victims are going to have to put their names on these things and come out publicly, which obviously ends up being a complicating factor for them, but also, generally speaking, makes sense on behalf of Deshaun Watson needing to know who it is that's accusing you of things. Although it did just strike me that they did have that long list of masseuses who came out and said our time with Deshaun Watson was fine. So I guess the defense probably had a decent idea at this point but I guess you wouldn't know all the specifics and who would all come out and all of those things. So that's sort of the update is that the women who are accusing Deshaun Watson of these various things are going to have to they're going to, if they want to proceed, they'll have to agree to come out publicly. With Tony Busby representing them, and most of them have already agreed to do that. Some still up in the air. I believe they have until Tuesday to figure that out and to refile. That's all within the legal nitty-gritty. We also heard from Watson's defense admission that there were at least some sexual encounters throughout with some of the accusing. It wasn't all of them, and they maintained that it was all consensual. That does not jive with the stories from these women and all these accusers, but all of those things have just sort of continued to pile up over the course of these last couple of days. At this point, I don't know that anything. I think it's worth noting what has happened so far, what has been added in, because part of the reason that the story was a tough sort of starter at the beginning was because we're talking about civil cases with some vague details and then a small and then growing number of accusers stepping in. So whenever it was very up in the air, whenever there were predominantly unknowns, I think it was, at least for a while, reasonable to say, like, we'll address this whenever I have more information. Right now, this is all very, very, very real. Things are hitting the fan over the course of whatever the civil suit ends up being. I saw that Daniel Lust, who we had on the show, he's at Sports Law Lust on Twitter. He had said in a show he was on, or something he had written, and I think it was today, that at this point there's a point of no return, especially for Deshaun Watson, where if you settle out of court at this point, that's going to be perceived fairly or unfairly as an admission of guilt. I personally am not super bothered by the idea that at least one of these accusing women was looking for a settlement before all this became public. Previously, I guess if you want to call it, I mean, if it's a lie, it is extortion or blackmail or whatever. And if it's true, it's looking for a settlement so you don't take all of this out into the public sphere and then you yourself become a public figure. And you do not want to be someone accusing a beloved, powerful figure of something heinous that's going to make your life a whole lot worse as you deal with all that. So anyway, it's all very complicated and there's still a lot of moving parts, but I at least wanted to sort of present that out there as a thing that happened today that is of note, that is going to impact the next several steps here. The one part of all of this that we haven't talked about very much, because I think this part of it can seem, I don't think it's necessarily a good thing to always immediately go from the larger story at hand with all the ramifications to immediately go to the practical, because that often can come off as quite harsh, I think. But in the space that we're in right now, I was listening to The Right Time with Bomani Jones and Dominic Foxworth. They're doing that on Fridays now. And I think it was Bomani that brought up the point of, think about David Culley right now, the new head coach of the Houston Texans. He came into that job knowing, hey, I'm probably not going to have Deshaun Watson next year, but I probably will have a whole bunch of draft picks to work with over the next couple of years, and I might ultimately get fired by Jack Easterby so he can hire Josh McCown in like 2 years. But you know what? I'm going to take this paycheck. I'm going to take this job because I'm probably not going to get another opportunity to be a head coach of an NFL football team.
Yep.
And now all of this happens, and what Bomani was pointing out was, what if Deshaun Watson, what if all of this doesn't get any clearer and there is no more, nothing more sort of cemented by camp time? And what if Deshaun Watson does show up to camp? And that struck me because, man, David Culley already has maybe the single most difficult job in the NFL right now, certainly among NFL head coaches. And it's gotten worse since he signed on the dotted line, and it could still get even more difficult for what, for all intents and purposes, is a good dude taking his one shot to be an NFL head coach. It's by no means the most important thing in this story, but I hadn't given that any thought. And it's also, by the way, one of the reasons that I think at this point it is a pretty safe bet that Deshaun Watson's probably not going to be at camp, is not going to be on the field in week one. Because at this point, whenever you talk about, again, also, I think it was Bomani that said, hey, these are Bill Cosby numbers. Like that, we're not at a point where you've got a civil suit between Deshaun Watson and one anonymous accuser, and you're in he said, she said territory, and even, frankly, you can step back in time in the NFL a little bit to the Ben Roethlisberger story. And if that Ben Roethlisberger story happens today, it probably goes differently. Something else I hadn't really thought of that popped up on the right time was that I can't remember now. It was someone in law enforcement, if memory serves, who said, hey, man, like, essentially, we think you did this thing. We just can't totally put a bow on it.
Yeah.
So we're going to just have to move on. If that's multiplied by something like 24, this is the entire point of the commissioner's exempt list. This is for while you figure out other stuff. And if you can get it cleaned up by the time the season starts, if you get it figured out with the league. You get it figured out with your team, whatever that may be. I'm speaking now obtusely on purpose, just in everything that has led to the commissioner's exempt list. You don't have to run it through the Players Association and through suspensions and through the team and all that. Literally, Roger Goodell can go, essentially, all right, yeah, you got to hang out over here for a second because we're going to try to figure out what we are supposed to do throughout all of this. The biggest, quote-unquote, advantage for the NFL, again, not that this is the most important part of it, but it's just something we haven't talked about very much. The advantage, air quotes again, that the NFL has here is that this stuff started coming out in late February, early March. Honestly, in a lot of ways, think about how the NFL ended up being able to handle the COVID, just the timeline last year. They had to make the draft virtual, and they had to make OTAs virtual and all that stuff. But ultimately, they got to kind of just like push back and wait a little bit. In a weird way, they've gotten a similar positive break in a very, very, very negative situation with Deshaun Watson, where they can just say, hey, we are going to say nothing and do nothing, because right now there's nothing to suspend him from. The Texans are not going to send him out for any sort of community outreach activities.
Doesn't seem likely.
Doesn't seem likely. Probably not going to happen.
But I mean, hey, they've made a lot of bad decisions over the last
true.
24 months. So
somehow I think they would have found a way to top themselves if they would have done. But it's a fair point, Rudy. Absolutely fair point.
Maybe Easter B is just like, hey,
let's just
see what
pretend this is
happens.
over. Let's just move on past it. Also, by the way, I don't think we mentioned this yesterday, but Nike suspended their relationship with Deshaun Watson, which is kind of interesting because it's not cutting you off, but it's also, hey man, we don't need you to do anything right now for us. You just stay over there, which makes sense.
Yep.
Beats either suspended their relationship or dropped them completely. I can't remember what the terminology of it was, but whenever sponsors start moving, that's also a pretty good indicator of just the way the river is flowing at that point.
Beats ended it.
They just dropped completely.
Yes.
Yeah,
Nike suspends, Beats drops.
That I do think that's noteworthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and not to get like totally off topic, but it's like we talked about last week, about MLB All-Star thing. Like, and then the news came out that the reason why we were surprised MLB got out kind of in front of something. And the reason why was because of companies like Coca-Cola, companies that sponsor, that have partnerships with baseball, came to baseball. It's like, hey, we're not cool with this.
There was a little bit of talk about like were players talking about boycotting, and that may have come around.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been listening to podcasts today, folks. Pablo Torre was talking to Howard Bryant on ESPN Daily.
I like that guy.
Did you listen to that podcast?
I haven't listened to the days yet. I've not gotten a chance
I think it was
to listen
yesterday's.
Yesterday's. I've listened to yesterday's.
Okay, there
I
we
haven't
go.
listened to today's. Yes.
It's a good listen about
very
that
good,
whole
yes.
story, the whole situation. Howard Bryant is excellent.
Sorry, for some reason when you said, I was thinking I have no idea what today's is, but I was thinking maybe you were saying there was a Deshaun Watson thing today.
No, to the MLB, to the MLB moving out of Georgia. I think they did a good job covering a whole bunch of angles of that.
He's really good.
Yeah, they're both excellent.
I'm just gonna hype. I'll always hype up Pablo Torre. Big Pablo Torre fan.
But so what the point that Howard Bryant made was, I mean, now a bunch of players said that they were going to be there, and I think there was talk that again, who was going to one of the managers for one of the All-Star teams.
It would be Dave Roberts.
It was Dave Roberts.
Okay,
Thank you.
Dave Roberts.
It was Dave Roberts.
Cash.
It was not Kevin Cash.
Because Kevin Cash is the manager of the
Rays.
Right?
Yes. I was doing a lot of backs. Like, hold on, it was Rays, Dodgers. However long that pause was how long it took for me to go. The managers of the All-Star teams are the managers of the previous year's World Series.
And then I had
last year was Dodgers, Rays.
I was like, wait a second, who was
it? It's not the Rays manager. Who is the Dodgers manager? Dave Roberts. However long that pause took is how long it took for me to do those processes.
Why couldn't it be the Rays manager? Because he's white. That's why.
Well, and also, I definitely wasn't Kevin Cash.
Yeah.
He was too busy.
Kevin Cash would have pulled too soon. Yeah.
That's it. That's the joke. Absolutely. Kevin Cash would have announced his boycott before that bill had even gotten passed.
Yes.
Before
it was even introduced.
Absolutely. He would have, that immediately after losing the World Series. That's a pretty good joke. That's a pretty good baseball
Thank
joke. But there was some talk about Dave Roberts maybe not managing in the All-Star game. The thing that Howard Bryant and a handful of others have mentioned is, hey, what baseball did was they made a decision about the size of the headaches that they were interested in, and they made a corporate decision.
Yes.
That is also happening around Deshaun Watson with Nike and Beats and whatnot. A little tangent, but a relatively tight tangent.
For sure.
Still,
we got a little off.
Ballpark.
We made a joke.
We did get a joke in.
We forgot a little bit about who was in the World Series because last year was just a blur. Let's be honest.
Kind of fuzzy.
I don't remember what was what.
I just remember that Blake Snell got pulled too early, maybe. Hashtag analytics, you know. I remember a lot of people tweeting about how analytics took an L that day, even though the Dodgers are like one of the most analytically driven teams in baseball.
Very true. Kevin Cash just stuck with the girl that he took to prom, the whole way. He was like, hey, this is how I did things all year long. That's how I'm gonna keep doing things.
I guess that I was gonna say it would be the inverse because he didn't do that in the specifics of the game, but he did over the specifics of the year. Yeah.
Fun fact: the guy who runs the Dodgers, is the guy who made the Rays the Rays.
Correct.
And so they do things. Both teams do things the exact same. Now we've really gotten off track.
I love that. That's what this conversation has gotten. Boy, we're talking about
Deshaun
Watson losing
Watson,
sponsorships.
Nike suspends Dr. Dre.
Commissioners
kills.
exempt list.
No, not kills. Drops.
Why are you killing Dr. Dre?
No, Dr. Dre. No, I said Dr. Dre kills.
Dr. Dre is fine.
Dr. Dre's not killing anybody.
Did he have like an aneurysm recently?
Wait, Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre is fine.
Is he?
Dr. Dre is alive. DMX died today, which is a bummer. Dr. Dre, I do think Dr. Dre had like a health thing recently, right?
I just typed in Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre's got other issues. Dr. Dre's alleged mistress is fined for wasting divorce court's time.
Oh, wow.
8 hours ago. Wow, we really got off track.
Wow.
We got off track talking about how we didn't get off track, and that's what got us off track.
And now we are off track because I'm learning some things about Dr. Dre that I did not know about.
For a second, I actually thought Dr. Dre might have passed away because I did remember the brain aneurysm. And
I think he had a brain aneurysm.
You frequently, you hear brain aneurysm, you expect the worst.
It's a tough one, yeah.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, I was like, wait, did I just walk down a rabbit hole I don't want to walk down? But he's alive. Dr. Dre's fine. Deshaun Watson's not.
He is alive, though, just to keep clarifying.
R.I.P. Eloy Jimenez.
Well, the segment was serious at one point.
Yeah, honestly, I'm glad that we found a little bit of an escape hatch because I think I said everything that I wanted to say. Yeah. The commissioner's exempt list basically exists for this reason, and I think Deshaun Watson's eventually going to end up on it, and he probably wasn't trying to play for the Texans this year anyway. The NFL has an advantage of the timeline of all of this. Imagine if all of this would have started happening in week 4. Oh, after he had gotten traded to the Panthers or something. Who, by the way, we know who we haven't talked about at all this week? We have not talked about Sam Darnold trade at all.
How's Carolina?
I'm loving it there.
Nice.
Thank you.
Teddy Bridgewater going to be on the move again.
I also think there's another NFL quarterback thing that we're not talking about just sort of universally that I think is kind of funny. And it is significantly less serious. So I think we're okay. I think we're okay with that. Also, I saw there's a question on the Twitch from JT about the over-under of total masseuses. He said, I think his own attorney today said something along the lines of he gets roughly 2 or 3 a week, and he was out here using IG for it, not Yelp or whatever, but he was using Instagram to book masseuses. 2 or 3 a week puts you at 100 to 150.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I'm not an athlete. This may shock people. I'm not an athlete.
Is stunning to me. Yeah.
So I do imagine that obviously that athletes in general do get massages frequently because it's just good for the body, right?
Sure.
If you're an athlete, I
and
imagine
you have the money for it.
Exactly.
Right.
I imagine it is frequent. Again, I would just assume you have a select few.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe it's not just one. And part of this may depend, right? Maybe you have one in the city you play in.
Sure.
But maybe you're not living in that city year round, so you have one in the city you live in. maybe you've got one in other AFC South cities because you spend a lot of time there because it's you're more likely to be there.
I mean, honestly, you're there for
you're there for like 2 days.
And it's a quick turnaround.
But maybe have like 2, 3, 4, right? Maybe you got one on backup in case person number maybe in your main city person number 1's on vacation.
You're having a really hard time getting to 150
you got backup.
though. Yeah. Here are two anecdotal things, okay? These are not claims they're going to hold up in court.
But also, not a professional athlete. Just want to put that out there.
Well, here's the thing. Do you know how many professional athletes I have seen tweet about this and say, yeah, that's normal? The number is 0. 0. Like today, I saw Jeff Schwartz he quote tweeted one of those numbers about what I just, the 100, 150, whatever.
Yeah.
He goes, that's not really how professional athletes use masseuses.
Yeah.
And Mike Golick responded, and he was like, yeah, no. Like,
yeah.
Nobody. Here's the thing. With the fact that Watson's attorney today said that there were like sexual encounters, but they were all consensual or whatever. The absolute best case scenario for Watson at this point is that he is a weird.
He's a weirdo.
Weird dude.
Yeah.
With a extremely strange fetish, I guess.
Because
habit at best, and also I think to say that a bunch of these are true, and they all did consensually, and all of these women are lying is just a pretty wild logical leap. Whenever so many other of the stepping stones along the path are like, that's weird, that doesn't seem very believable, that's very strange. If you don't have return business to the same handful of people, it's weird, man. And also by the way, you have SI's investigation into their story, and you've got other DM screenshots and whatnot. That just exists. That is information in the world at this point.
The thing I'm super confident with saying is that we obviously don't know for a fact what exactly Deshaun Watson did, what is illegal, right? Because we weren't there. One thing I'm confident with saying is if you have that many people of accusing you of something, you are at the very least doing something immoral, right? You're doing something wrong, right? Maybe it's not. Again, you could even say to a degree that it's not breaking a law, right? Or you weren't committing. You're doing something weird. You're being a creep at the very least.
Yeah, and not reading the room or whatever.
And again, that's at the very least. At the very least.
And by the way, I didn't know that you felt that. I didn't know that I was making you feel this way is a very common wobbly shield held up by people caught in abuse, and it doesn't hold a lot of water. So, yeah, I think that's fair. Beard, your mic's been on for a minute. Go ahead.
Yes. For whatever reason, Facebook comments aren't showing up on our little chat thing, so I wanted to point this out from Michael on the AES Facebook page. Can you imagine if... I'm going to edit basically what he said and fix it a little bit to what I'm... Can you imagine if the Chiefs had drafted him instead of Mahomes?
Yeah, it'd be bad.
And then they had won the Super Bowl anyway?
Bad.
And then all of this came out?
It's all bad. It's all extremely bad.
We got lucky, man.
The other thing that I thought about, and this is just sort of I don't know. This might be framed unfairly because even invoking Mahomes' name anywhere around this feels unfair because it's just a very bad. Everything is so bad. You don't want to be anywhere near this. But the very first couple of reports, I remember seeing. I think Ben Albright tweeted out a quote from a teammate of Deshaun Watson's. He was like, "That's not who this dude is at all. I'd be stunned if this was legit." And then 24 more accusations followed that. It just as an exercise of feeling what Texans fans, the organization I could kind of give a bleep about, right? But to understand where Texans fans are at right now and how they're feeling throughout all of this, it's your franchise quarterback in the same draft. I'm trying not to be it'd be like if Patrick Mahomes was accused of a series of terrible crimes, because that's not fair at all.
Not fair for him.
But Deshaun Watson jerseys are JJ Watt's gone too, by the way. Quick, name another Houston Texan.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Laramie Tunsil.
Tunsil is what I would have said, but what you could have just said, Beards, is any washed-up running back that would have qualified.
David Johnson, I think, resigned.
I think you're right.
Is Will Fuller still there?
No. Where did he end up?
Green Bay, I think it was Green Bay.
Can we get
What?
Can we get a
Didn't he
Matt
go?
Schaub
Wait, where
jersey?
did Will Fuller go?
I don't think he's in Green Bay.
I don't know. Let's see. Will Fuller. Miami Dolphins.
Nobody liked my Matt
I
Schaub
was close.
idea.
I mean, I was real close.
Yeah, Miami, Green Bay,
They're greenish colors.
tomato, potato.
They're greenish colors. I don't even remember him signing with Miami. Apparently, I remember him signing with Green Bay. So.
Right, yeah, I mean, yeah, fair enough at this point.
Signed a 1-year deal.
I'm glad the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes, you guys. Just as like a general reminder.
I'm a little bummed the Chiefs didn't sign Will Fuller.
Yeah, no, dude, me too. It would have been nice. I would have enjoyed that.
That might have been pretty good.
Would have enjoyed that very much. I think he's
1-year
suspended for
deal?
the first game of the year still, but
Oh, yeah, there's that. But still.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll take 15 games, Will Fuller.
Well, 13.
I'm not sure he's played. Actually, you know what? He'll play 16 games this year. Well, he'll be.
Well, he'll have a chance.
He'll be not suspended for 16 games this year.
Yeah.
Will Fuller has a prolonged injury history.
And then the 1 year he doesn't get hurt, he gets busted for PEDs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Wonder if
Will
there's any
Fuller, man.
correlation there.
Nah, probably not.
Probably not. Let's take a break. Whenever we come back, we're going to have a much less serious, much lighter conversation about not current NFL quarterbacks, incoming NFL quarterbacks. Draft talk next!
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page. You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
I'm really not trying to be defensive or rude to you, YouTube commenter. I'm sorry that
He's
I
just a
almost
mean guy.
certainly sound defensive here.
He's just a mean boy.
I'm just a mean boy. I'm this mean to everyone, not just you.
With Joshua Brisco.
Can confirm.
But shut up, Beards.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I don't really want to get all the way up into the nitty-gritty of the top of the NFL draft, but I was thinking about this like a couple of days ago, and it's really actually happening even farther down the draft board than I was thinking as of a couple of days ago. If I ask you, Rudy, which quarterback
69.
right now, what?
I said 69. That's where I would draft the first quarterback.
So, Beards, if I was going to ask you,
420.
Okay, I'm ready to play.
Which quarterback in this draft class we have talked about the most lately, who would it be?
Well, so like when you say we, do you mean we or
No.
draft community we? I think
I definitely don't mean wee-wee.
yeah.
I also don't mean almost entirely sports. I mean
I was gonna
national.
say, I don't think we did any draft talk.
I mean national sports NFL media. Like, who's the quarterback who has the highest Google ping right now?
I mean, right now it's probably Zach Wilson because Trevor Lawrence clearly won, but like it's like
We don't need to
because
talk
he's
about
clearly
him.
won.
He's
Yeah,
set.
I would say it's like Zach Wilson right
You guys
now.
are playing right into my hands. Who would be second?
Headlines.
Headlines. Number
Probably
of
Mac
headlines.
Jones, right?
I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
I think next
Then Fields
is I think
3,
Justin. I think I would actually say at this point.
maybe I would say 3-4 is one order of Fields and Lance.
I think Fields might be number one because here anyway. None of those are really you gave me the good job, guys.
I gave you the answers
You gave me the answers I wanted.
Yeah, we did it.
I think at this point Zach
Wait,
Wilson.
was the answer 69?
Yes, I think Zach Wilson is relatively locked.
420.
I think Zach Wilson is relatively locked in the number 2. So he's kind of maybe it's falling out a little bit, but tons of talk about Justin Fields
Yeah.
because he seems like one of the only guys who's kind of mobile right now. Not literally, I guess they're talking about Mac Jones and him, but Trey Lance is brought up plenty. Mac, it feels sort of like a Justin Fields Mac Jones conversation at 3 overall.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson is interesting, but it seems like he's pretty much locked in to go number 2. But
Seems likely.
the thing that I found interesting, just sort of thinking about this as I am, known to do in my free time. I could not tell you the last time I so much as saw a Trevor Lawrence clip on television. I haven't seen a headline. I haven't seen a tweet. I haven't seen a story. We will talk about everybody else. And there's a world, by the way, where quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I don't think the Bengals will trade back because I think they'll take Pitts or Sewell at 5, and one of those dudes will definitely be there because the quarterbacks are definitely going 1, 2, 3.
It would be surprising to me if the Bengals didn't take either Jamar Chase or or like Pitts or Sewell. Like to me, it's going to be
if you want
add
to
a
include
playmaker.
Chase, that's fine.
And the reason why I'm including it is just it's top receivers, top tight end, it's top offensive tackle.
They're gonna have their choice of at least 2 of those 3.
Yeah, because there's 1, 2, 3's quarterback. 4 seems likely because it's either going to be the Falcons maybe going after quarterback, or if they trade down, like is thought nobody's trading up to 4 unless they're drafting a quarter. In my opinion, maybe
right.
not. Maybe you're like, hey, I don't want to risk losing Sewell, but my guess is if you trade up to 4, it's to go get a quarterback.
I think you're probably right. The thing about that, though, that I just think is so interesting is that, I mean, even last year, like, Joe Burrow was going to go 1.
Yeah.
That got decided pretty early on.
We were confident.
Early on in the draft season, even as we had conversations,
Once
obviously
Tua
about...
got hurt, it was basically... and even a little before then, I would say he was definitely Burrow was number 1.
But it was going to be Burrow, Tua, and then Tua got hurt.
And then it was just Burrow's the guy.
And then we had some Justin Herbert conversations, all that stuff. I just think I don't have like a take. I'm not saying that we needed to do anything to fix this atrocity, but I just think it's kind of interesting that you know what? Here's what I'll connect it to. Remember when last year, like, Patrick Mahomes was playing good football, and everyone was like, "Why aren't we like? How are we not talking about Patrick Mahomes in the MVP conversation? How is Josh Allen getting more votes than Patrick Mahomes come MVP time?" Yeah. We collectively are bored of Trevor Lawrence, and he's not even an NFL player yet. Mm-hmm. He was just incredibly good at Clemson. He's gonna be the number 1 overall pick. He was locked in to be the number 1.
We decided that 3 years ago.
He was locked in to be the number 1 overall pick before we knew who was picking there. He was the number 1 overall pick, really, at draft time last year.
He was honestly, and like, he was pretty much the number 1. He was projected to be the number 1 pick in his draft once he made his first college start.
Right. Much. No, I think Beard's. I think that's a good call.
Yeah, like he's been the guy since he was in high school. Is like, this is going to be a future number 1 pick.
We've seen and heard that about a lot of guys who eventually fall off, and he never fell off.
Yeah.
But I just think it's crazy. He will be taken number 1 overall. He will go to Jacksonville, and even after the season starts, I think we might end up talking more about Zach Wilson in New York, or whoever ends up being Shanahan's quarterback in San Francisco. Those guys are probably going to get more conversation time even within the season, even if they're not playing as well, because Trevor Lawrence is already being treated like a really excellent quarterback.
And Trevor Lawrence, 1, he's in Jacksonville, which that's just going to hurt talk. But 2, he's going to be overshadowed in Jacksonville because Urban Meyer's is head coach.
Yeah,
like, Urban Meyer's going to get a lot, which honestly, like, maybe for Trevor Lawrence, maybe that's what you want, right? Maybe that's a good thing. But fun fact about Trevor Lawrence, never won, like he will not, if I'm correct on this, not be eligible for the College Football Hall of Fame because he never won a Heisman and also never was a consensus All-American, even though he is like one of the most talented quarterbacks. But like he's just kind of had like a little bit of bad luck along the way. Good chance he wins the Heisman last year if he never misses games due to COVID. Then he ran into that whole like Kyler Murray. Baker, I think his freshman year was Baker, which his freshman year he was playing a little bit with Kelly Bryant, but like he ran into Kyler Murray basically his sophomore year where Kyler Murray was just like absurd.
Yeah.
Like he just kind of ran into like a little bit of bad luck that way with other quarterbacks, but fun little Trevor Lawrence facts.
That was really fun.
Yeah.
I just think it's a really interesting little pocket where he has fallen into this spot where he is universally expected to be the number 1. I mean, he's going to be the number 1 pick. He's universally expected to be the best player out of this draft class, which is not always the same thing, right? And I've heard more people talking about Kyle Pitts these last couple of weeks than Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. We've gotten bored.
He's more like, because we've gotten bored by his excellence, and he has not even been drafted into the league yet.
And so like, and the one thing, and this isn't going to happen because everybody like Trevor Lawrence will go number 1, but a lot of times what happens then is the next step is we get so bored we start to like kind of tear that player down a little bit, and then we elevate somebody else.
Yep.
And now that's not going to happen in terms of, at least in terms of draft status, he's going to go number 1, but also there's a chance, and like I won't be surprised by it at all when you start seeing hey, Mac Jones actually is probably going to be the better quarterback because, in part because of where he's ending up at, right? Like Mac Jones is going to have more of an impact year 1. He'll actually maybe be the favorite for Rookie of the Year from some people. Zach Wilson's going to be in New York, so obviously like it's New York, so you're just going to get a lot of media hype behind that. Like that will be the next step.
I'm on Tankathon's NFL mock draft site because I just wanted to have the draft order up in front of me, and I like Tankathon.
I've got a mock draft up too. When you're done, I want to read you a sentence I just find funny.
Ooh, excellent! It's just a draft board, but they have Trey Lance falling to 9 and going to Denver.
This one
I wouldn't care for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't love. This one has them going to 8 to Carolina.
That's fine.
So yeah,
that's fine with me. Boy, there got a lot of quarterbacks, huh?
There are.
Teddy's got to go
which is going to be fun. Like, this draft is going to be funny at the top because of the quarterbacks. Because even though, like, we believe Zach Wilson's going to go to, there are, like, there's always at least that chance. Like, this mock draft here has Justin Fields going to, but the thing that I like about it is this sentence is just very funny. Why is Fields going to? Yes, the general consensus is that Zach Wilson will be the Jets' pick. But Robert Saleh is a blue-collar defensive coach who probably loved watching Fields' gutsy performance in Ohio State's win over Clemson in this year's Sugar Bowl. Along with being a strong, durable quarterback, Fields was excellent taking care of the ball. The rest is not that funny. But I just like that.
Put him on blast, Rudy. Put him on blast. Whose mock draft is this?
It was a guy I hadn't heard. I'm scrolling to the top.
What is the platform?
It is a CBS. It is Brian DiArdo. I've never honestly heard of him.
More like Brian DeFarto.
Got him. He also has Trevor Lawrence listed as beyond his gaudy college record. The 6'2", 220-pound Lawrence has the physical tools that quarterbacks need to have to flourish in today's NFL. Trevor Lawrence is 6'6".
Yeah, what?
Now that might be a typo, but
well, I mean, the 2 and the 6 aren't that close together.
No.
There's 3 numbers between them.
There is, and and it's not. You do hit those numbers with different hands.
Yeah.
So it's not like maybe like you just like use the same hand, right? Your fingers just get a little mixed up.
I'm sorry for calling you Brian DeFarto, Brian. I don't know you, but I didn't like your analysis very much right there. You may be a perfectly nice man.
He probably is.
You also should probably just like Google Trevor Lawrence. Just to Google Trevor Lawrence height.
This is the Falcons drafting Kyle Pitts.
I think that would be kind of fun.
Back-to-back receivers back-to-back. 5'6", Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. I still haven't actually scrolled to see who he has the Chiefs taking.
I mean, you got to tell us.
Oof, you're not gonna like this.
No good.
It's a running back. It's not. A running back went right before the Chiefs. Christian Barmore, defensive line, Alabama, which honestly kind of feels right. If they went after a defensive lineman early, it's just because this team loves defensive linemen. Like if you just told me
they're not gonna. When was that published? They're not gonna draft an interior. They're not gonna draft an interior defensive lineman.
Josh,
you can tase
Josh,
Rudy
no,
if they draft
no,
an interior defensive lineman.
No.
Rudy agreed to it.
Got it.
Rudy agreed to it. It's
I did
marked.
not.
It's law. Stone
No.
tablet. If the
No.
Chiefs take an interior defensive lineman,
This
Rudy's
is
gonna get
not
electrocuted
true.
on the show. You can tase him.
Not true.
Everyone listening can tase Rudy if
Not
the Chiefs draft an
true.
interior defensive lineman.
Not true.
I'll be first in line, and everybody can do it.
Nope.
BYOT, baby.
Nope.
Bring your own taser.
Nope.
Bring your BYOT TTR. Bring your own taser to tase Rudy.
No.
Day after the draft.
No.
Regardless of who the Chiefs take.
No.
Having a party. Socially distanced. Gotta have good aim. Gotta get him
Except for when
from.
you're tasing.
Gotta get him from 6 feet away.
Who is Mac Jones falling to 19 to the Washington football team? He has a lot of running backs going in the first round.
That seems right.
Like 3 of them.
This dude's really living up to my first impressions of him.
He has the Dolphins drafting a running back with the 18th pick.
Beards, get him on the phone. I want him on next segment.
At JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already. This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
The problem is that the joke was so bad that I did find it funny. It was just sort of all of the frivolities that got us there that really, it made it not feel quite so worth it, you know?
Yeah, 99% of people have no idea what you just said there. Frivolities, I guarantee you 99% of people listening have no idea what that word means. You know why? I don't know what that word means.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
A quick Twitch update that I'll express through JT's comment saying, this sleep music on the breaks is hard to wake up from. Good thing we have Josh's grating voice to bring us back. That's fair. The reason that we have new music, which it is a series of lo-fi hip-hop beats, which is just kind of, it's an aesthetic that I like, especially during a commercial break on Twitch. I like it, all right? You can direct your complaints to me.
I like it.
The best thing, though, is I was going through a website that we use for all of our like royalty-free music that we can use for various radio production and everything. And there was only one album on there that was some form of lo-fi hip-hop. And the album title is called #420Blaze It.
Heck yeah.
Having a hashtag in an album title, I don't think, on a royalty-free album title, no less, that no one is tweeting about. And I imagine that #420Blaze It probably has tweets not about this royalty-free music, but it all really came full circle, and that's how I knew it needed to be the music of our breaks. Alec Lewis of The Athletic is next.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kansas City's favorite sports station, 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
I'm John Ryder. After shooting a 65 yesterday for the day one lead, Justin Rose shoots an even par 72 today with 4 bogeys, but still has the lead after 2 rounds of the Masters.
I actually said to myself going up the 8th hole, hey, you're still leading the Masters. Yeah. Okay. The frame of reference is totally different. Yeah, you were 4 ahead, now it's just tied for the lead or 1 ahead or whatever it was. But I kind of realized that it was still a pretty good spot to be in and try to build on from there.
Justin Rose, the lead at 7 under. He's 1 shot ahead of Will Zalatoris, who's playing in his first Masters, and Brian Harmon, also 1 shot back. Jordan Spieth and Mark Leishman just 2 shots back, while defending champ Dustin Johnson, along with Brooks Koepka and Rory McIlroy, all missed the weekend cut at Augusta. 2 judges have ruled that most of the plaintiffs suing Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson must identify themselves. Rulings from 2 hearings today covered 13 of the 22 lawsuits filed against Watson, alleging sexual assault and inappropriate misconduct. College basketball, Arkansas guard Moses Moody and Gonzaga guard Joel Ayayi declaring for the NBA draft. On the NBA scoreboard, Memphis going for a 5th straight, leading the Knicks 68-59, third quarter in New York. Memphis currently 2 up on San Antonio for the final playoff spot in the West. Pacers lead the Magic 86-82 in the 4th quarter. Indiana 1 game in back of the Knicks for the 8th playoff spot in the East. In baseball, the Angels lead the Blue Jays 7-0 in the 6th. Shohei Ohtani a solo home run and a 3-run double.
Coming up Monday, Keyshawn and Zubin are back, and we'll continue to discuss whether Andy Dalton is the best quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Should they go after Teddy Bridgewater? Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin, Monday on ESPN Radio.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
We have our friend Alec Lewis of The Athletic. He covers the Royals, and he'll be in studio with us here for an hour, in an hour, and that's exciting because I like Alec, and baseball's okay. But I like Alec.
More or less than baseball.
I mean,
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Before we get to Alec, 2 quick housekeeping notes from the Sports Radio 810 Twitch. First of all, thanks to Credible Hulk for the gifted sub picked up by Chaotic Warrior. Also, our first ever Sports Radio 810 Twitch poll question.
Yep.
Will we hear an automobile noise through Alec's phone over the course of this segment? You can bet your channel points. You got about 30 seconds to get your bid in.
Predict custom amount. I have, let's see,
All of your points.
24,500 points. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
voting
it? You got chump change.
24,500
Wow.
points.
Wow,
on,
it is all of
on
the
yes.
points that really move. I'm going to say no because I believe
35,000.
the concern for me. Wait, Beards, you put all your channel points in there. Oh no.
Yeah, I have 0 now.
Oh boy, you guys are absolutely toasted right now.
I had 24,504 points, and I'll have 24,504.
All right, so Alec, please don't don't lead the jury here. Whatever happens, happens. But your automotive audio habits have now made it to a very meta place where someone is going to win or lose a bunch of channel points now.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know y'all were going to put this much pressure on me. Do I need to go outside? Do I need to call the fire department? What do you like? I'm inside. Because I was on with Soren earlier this week, and I guess he heard the wind, and I thought he almost ate his microphone. He was so mad that there was this outside noise. So I'm inside right now. But look, I mean, if I get talking and if we get going, I might drift outside. We'll see. I guess we'll find out.
Hey, Alec, what's your address? Going to call 911 real fast.
He's going to call it a bomb threat.
Yeah, this is like the first time ever on this show that I'm talking inside to start, and it might change. We'll see.
I think my reasoning for betting no just now was that I think last time you were either inside or just there were no automobile noises. So I mean, I just think do whatever the spirit leads you. That's what you do. And I hesitated to even let you know ahead of time that this was all hinging on, but I had to let the audience know what was at stake, and it's this, and it's incredibly important.
Well, I will say, like, with this weather outside, it would have been, I mean, it's the most safe bet of all time. And I'm out there just walking around, doing circles, and just talking about whatever comes to my head. So it makes sense, but I get my roommate's not here right now, so it's just like I can pace the apartment. I can weave and figure eight around the kitchen appliances. So I'm fine right now.
They're
frankly.
not here right now, but you're saying they might drive there later?
It's possible. That's what I'm saying. Anything if he comes back in with his girlfriend, look, I mean, I might have to adapt. We'll see. We shall see.
Well, if it happens, I look forward to it derailing whatever very serious conversation we're having about Brad Keller at that point. But I'm really excited either way. You can follow Alec on Twitter at Alec_Lewis. Read all of his work up in The Athletic. We have had a I don't know, I don't want to call it a roller coaster just yet, but because it feels very, very early. But it doesn't seem necessarily wrong to say that the Royals season started with 2 incredibly exciting and fun games, and also Danny Duffy had a good outing, and that's all I remember. I've blacked out the rest of it.
It's like a roller coaster, but you stop every 2 days. Like, can we
Right.
get to what are we doing? Why are these off days? Like, if we're gonna do baseball, let's do the baseball, okay? Like, we don't need to hack this. But you did say, and I'm gonna correct you. You said the first 2 games were. I mean, the first game was arguably one of the worst 4 hours. I mean, it was the longest. I'm gonna be straight honest with you. It was a great comeback. The fans were great. It showed the pride of this team, but boy, when that game was over, my car was ready to be heated up and me get out of there.
You hadn't been at a baseball game in so long, and then the first bite, you were like, yeah, I'm good, actually.
Josh, I talked to Denny Matthews the day after, and he said, it had been gone from opening day to opening night. It was minor league team. I was like, yeah, Denny, it was bad. I mean, it was tough. But no, it's been an interesting start. I'll go serious for a second. Look, the starting pitching has been really, really. I mean, you mentioned Danny Duffy, and Jacob Junis was really good the other day. But other than that, I mean, it's been really hard to watch. I mean, Brad Keller's start, you mentioned it, but it's confusing. It's kind of interesting. It's I guess concerning in some ways, but it's. And then the lineup jumped out to score 25 runs in the first 2 games, and then now it looks like Rudy is at the plate and Beards on the third and fourth hole. So it's just been really interesting, a roller coaster with some stops on the way. So we're 6 games in. It feels like 60, and we'll see how this thing plays out.
Well, you corrected me. I'm going to correct you now. Earlier, you said your roommates weren't home with you, but you didn't mention that Denny Matthews is in the room with you because you sound like you handed him the phone. I'd like to just talk to Denny Matthews for the remainder of this segment. I think I'd like to know if his spirit just lives inside you now, because that was incredible.
I'll say this. So we talked the day before opening day, and then the day after, the plan was to call him on his home phone because he doesn't have a cell phone. And hopefully, I'm serious, and hopefully he would be available. So I called the home phone, and he answered. He didn't know who it was at first, so we had to get over that hurdle. We got over the hurdle, and I asked, so what'd you think of the game yesterday? And he goes, were you there? I mean, it was, and I was like, yeah, I mean, that's my job to be there. He's like, boy, oh boy. I mean, and he was really frustrated with it. And I thought for him, he hadn't been at the ballpark in a while, but his sarcasm was great. He's not in the room with me, but he does have a home phone, which I haven't seen since 2007. So that was good.
I mean, if you would have asked me to try to predict like any human being within 100 miles of Kansas City to be the most likely to own a home phone but not have a cell phone, I think Denny Matthews would have been my number 1 overall pick. Like, I think I would have nailed that one. That one's perfect.
Yeah, and look, I mean, it's got to be nice. He's not checking anything. He doesn't see Twitter. He is. I mean, God bless the soul. He was great to talk to. I really enjoyed doing that. And I still haven't seen him at the ballpark. I printed out the story because he doesn't do The Athletic, so I'm gonna have to bring that to him.
Does the paper boy deliver that?
Yeah.
Right. Yes. So I told him I'd bring it down to the box, and I will do that when they play the Angels this week. So yeah, but it was fun talking to him. I need to listen more often in the 4-hour and 20-minute games because I think I would be in the same boat as him.
Yeah, that's great. I think this somehow is a controversial take, but I love Denny Matthews. I really do. I didn't just every detail so far has only reinforced what I was pretty sure that I knew about him. Just truly absolutely a treasure. All right, well, so let's see if we can squeeze out like 10 straight minutes of baseball adjacent things, and then we'll get back to trying to see if we can get a car horn or something. At this point, I think that I'm going to start with the negative, I suppose, because it's who I am, and also this year's been weird. But I think at this point, Brad Keller is probably the story of this year. I guess if you were a real optimist, you could have said that maybe you thought that the Royals were going to get off to a good enough start that would sort of preserve the idea that maybe they'd be a fringe playoff team or really a 500 team, which is what they are as of right now, but they also started with the Rangers. So I have to think, though, that Brad Keller, both in the immediate and in the long-term future for this team, like has a significant role to play. And this start for him, whatever the reasoning behind it would be, I think that's the biggest story so far this year. Do you agree with that? And then either way, what have you thought of Keller's start?
Yeah, I think that's it. I'm trying to go through the Rolodex in my head of everything. I mean, you could talk about like Carlos Santana and Andrew Benintendi, who they paid Carlos a lot of money and they traded prospects for Benintendi. Both those guys have been have struggled, to say the least. But I do think Brad's start is the story. You tab a guy who's as young as he is as your ace for a reason. It's because, A, you believe in him, and B, because it's important that you believe in him because his performance is going to be very important for your team. And the first outing was really just weird. Like he threw the same pitches that he's thrown. The movement, the spin rate, I have dug into it ad nauseum for some reason. And it's all very similar. In the second outing, he started looking pretty good. First inning, I think he got an out or two, and then he left a slider up, and then he left another slider up, and the movement and the fine statistics were still the same. He said he's healthy. He talked about pitching more aggressively, but I've talked to a scientist on this. I've talked to a private pitching coach, and it's like we don't really know what's up. And I think there's some people who would say that, look, Brad, with his numbers, they've been really good. They were really good in 2020, and 2019 was a little up and down. But some would say that a regression was kind of due. But others would say he's just missed spots, and some of that I think has just been kind of pressing. I think when you're tabbed to be the opening day starter at his age, you want to come out and prove something. And then when you're facing the White Sox, who hate Brad Keller for some reason because there was some it's the goofiest. Chicago doesn't like Brad Keller. That's okay. And Marceline doesn't like Alec. It doesn't really make any sense. But to pitch there in that environment on their opening day, I think there was a little more juice. And so it's hard to really put a finger on what is going on and how much to read into it going forward. But look, the longer you go and you perform this way, the more concern there's going to be. And if Brad Keller is not anything close to the starter you wanted him to be at the beginning of the year, this team's going to lose a lot more games than anybody thought, including Vegas.
So, I mean, I guess I think you sort of hinted at it, but how long do you wait before you go, oh, this is a real concern? Because we are talking about 2 games and like 5 total innings. So, I mean, it's a small sample size still, but sample size, as much as we talk about it all the time for position players, pitchers have a smaller one, obviously. But so how long do you give it before you start kind of, I don't know, moving up the levels of concern? And then also, what are those ramifications, both in the short term and the long term, if it doesn't get significantly better?
Yeah, I think I give at least 2 more. I mean, he's pitched over the last 3 years. I think he started 57 or 58 games. So to make this rash judgment on such a small percentage to start a year, it would be ridiculous. I think at least 2 more. I'd say probably after 5 starts, if it's all looked very similar, then it's really concerning. And the ramifications are that, I mean, the Royals' other young starting pitching prospects, like they need to hit, because if they don't, then it's, I mean, in these years like 22 and 23, where I think they really think they compete, both of those had Brad Keller penciled in. And if he's not anything close to like a number 2 or number 3 starter even, then you kind of have to reassess the future and kind of how you view some of these other pitching prospects. I don't know if that means Asa Lacy has to come quicker. I don't know if that means Daniel Lynch has to be even better than some people think. I don't know if Jackson Kowar has to be the guy or Brady Singer, but it will make you really rethink these young pitching prospects. And it goes, I think, more from we have a boatload of these young pitching prospects that can help us to, like, we need these young pitching prospects to hit or else we're in trouble. And so it'll be interesting to just watch going forward. The most interesting part of it is just there's nothing glaring. There's nothing with Brad's starts that it's like, oh, that's different. Or it's like he's thrown his sinker more, but his sinker's always been a good pitch for him. He's gotten more swing and miss on some of his pitches than he even did last year. So it's just really odd. And it's one of the more, I mean, I'm young and haven't been doing this very long, but it's one of the more interesting I've seen, really.
And the idea of, can't quite put your finger on it, I think is probably, and I'm really trying not to be an alarmist for no reason, but I think that's probably the worst thing that you can say about a dude having a problem. Like if it's a mechanical issue, that's not great, but you can go in and work on your mechanics. If it's a velocity issue, that's not good because that can, obviously mean a number of reasons have led to that point, but at least that's what it is. If it's a mental issue, you can, specifically, you can try to work on that. I mean, I guess, do you just let him just pitch through it? I mean, they moved, the other crazy thing about it is they moved his second start back, which took him away from Cleveland's lineup and gave him to Chicago, which couldn't have helped. So, I mean, whenever we don't know what it is, and maybe the Royals know more than we do, but if they don't, and if you've talked to a scientist, which I've been thinking about since you mentioned that, I'd love more information on that front. What is it that you do if you're in the Royals' shoes right now?
Yeah, I mean, you said it, but I mean, you would hope the Royals see something. I think we asked Mike Matheny and Brad last night, and the answer was like, need to be more aggressive with the fastball and throw things with more conviction. But like, it's kind of one of those, like, is that like a psychological, like, how can you really put a finger on that? Like, was he not throwing hard enough inside? I don't really, it's one of those things where it's like, I guess we'll just have to see if he throws more inside and goes more aggressively at guys. To your point, like you would think the Royals pitching staff would be able to help in some sense. You would think, I don't know, some of the older pitchers on the staff would be able to help. And then the scientists, look, I did a story in spring training on, and this is another element to this, but I did a story on something that's very complex called seam-shifted wake. And it's really the seams of the baseball are affected by air, and they can sometimes make the ball move in ways that it otherwise wouldn't. And Brad utilizes this seam-shifted wake effect more than like anybody. And sometimes the seam-shifted wake effect can kind of, I know I'm getting really in the weeds, but it can kind of like go away and be different some days and other days. And so it's a little concerning. You don't really teach this. It's kind of just a natural way of that they throw the ball. And so I asked the scientists who really came up with this concept, like, are you seeing anything different? And really, it was there was something a little bit with the slider, but it wasn't enough where Salvi wants him to throw it. And look, I mean, guys miss gloves, but you can't in the major leagues, or you're going to get peppered and get hit to the concourse like Yermin Mercedes, whoever that is, did last night.
So to go back to the first thing you're talking about in there, but just a quick follow-up question. What?
On the seam-shifted wake?
Yeah, I'd love more information on that, please. I've just simply, yes. What?
It's very complicated. Like,
So
I just
explain
started
it. So I think you just explained it a second ago. Like,
explain it to him like he's 5.
no. You explained it as if everyone listening was 5. I need you to explain it as if you're explaining it to a 5-year-old dog.
So, for a long time, MLB has used different technologies to track movement of the baseball in the game. They use TrackMan. They've used Rapsodo stuff, and before last year, they implemented these new cameras called Hawkeye that pick up data that the other technologies didn't. And one of the things that they picked up is that sometimes the ball on some pitchers is moving more than the spin would say it would move. And those cameras picked that up. And Brad's sinker and his four seam and his slider, all 3 of them, which is really rare, move different than you would expect from the spin to the hitter's eye. And so sometimes, and it's a very natural thing. Like, Brad isn't purposely doing something. He just holds the ball a certain way that leads it to happen. And it can be, there's a lot of variance with it because of weather, because of a guy just throwing it from a different arm slot on a certain outing. It's very new concept that's very complicated, and it makes you start to. I mean, my brain doing the story really hurt. I was on a Zoom call with this scientist, and I felt like I was a 10-year-old dog, and I still couldn't understand it.
It's very interesting. So, but the one thing I wanted to make sure I understood is it's not something that Brad Keller is doing on purpose. It is something that is affecting his pitches in a way that has served him well as a result of whatever it is that he's doing.
100%. And this scientist who created he coined the term season shifted wake, has written a ton about it. And we just talked about Brad, and he said he's like one of the most interesting pitchers in the world, and this was because of it. And it's an interesting thing. It's another element. Baseball has these rabbit holes that are just unbelievable, and it makes the game. It continuously makes the game interesting in a way that it sometimes is not. And so, but this concept, it's hard to tell how much this could or could not be playing a role real time. It's just really difficult. If it were me, I think, and just talking to people, I think it's just been, he's missed spots at times that have been very inopportune to good hitters. And you got to stop doing that, and he'll have time to make sure he does.
Let's talk about something good that's happened so far, because there's been plenty of interesting, positive things. Michael A. Taylor was a blast out of the gate. You've gotten you mentioned Carlos Santana, who I've missed a pitch or two here and there, but I'm pretty sure he's up to 50 walks so far this season. If the start of his year was anything, it was any indicator. What do you think? Let's even leave the pitching off to the side, because I want to come back to the bullpen in a little bit. But of the position players, and certainly among the newcomers, obviously Benintendi's start has not been excellent. What's been your sort of favorite positive thing that maybe has outpaced even what an optimist may have thought at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, Michael A. Taylor. There's just zero question. He is hitting every ball, like smoking every single ball, and he's not missing much. And I thought it was really interesting because I dug into the numbers from last year, and I found out that he actually he barreled up baseballs more last year on a percentage basis than Mike Trout, and it was like, wow, I don't know. It was like Michael A. Taylor did this, and maybe that's something the Royals saw when they went out and signed him. But even when they went out and signed him, I don't think they expected this type of production. The first couple games he hit 2 home runs. That was pretty insane. But he's still, he's putting together a top of the lineup at bat every time at the bottom, and that's been really important, especially when they didn't have Dozier, and especially that they don't have Adalberto Mondesi. And so, but the issue, and I don't want to be pessimistic either, but I'm just going to have to say it. It's like beyond Michael A. Taylor and Whit Merrifield, it's just hard to feel like you could, like you have any consistency. Jorge Soler has been good in spurts. Salvi's been good in spurts, but otherwise it is just like, it just feels like you have confidence when Whit's at the plate, obviously. You have confidence when Michael A. Taylor's at the plate, but otherwise it's just, you just do not know what you're going to get. And that's tough. It puts a lot on guys. And, I mean, you can make – there might be reasons for all these guys. Kyle Isbell's obviously young. I mean, I think Carlos Santana, I'm not sure. Andrew Benintendi, I'm really not sure. And it's just an interesting thing. And I think they're really, I mean, it's hard for me not to think that they're really missing Adalberto Mondesi and what he just would provide from a pressure standpoint, if nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, and also, I don't know if we ever really got much clarity on you know, he'll get back to practice in 2 weeks, and then 6 weeks later, he runs his first route in a game. It's like, man, like the way that those injuries can linger, and especially for a guy where his athleticism is so important to the game that he plays. Do you have a feel right now on the timeline for Mondesi and how patient the Royals are going to be with him?
I think they're going to have to be as patient as possible, but he's going to have to be patient too. I think so. What I heard is on one of the finals of course, I mean, he had a great spring. He was in great spirits. I talked to him, and it was just, I mean, it was kind of refreshing to hear him. And then I think the final day of spring training, the final game, there was a swing where he felt something. He didn't say anything after that, but it wasn't that bad. And then I think the next day it was like, I really can't move. And then they did tests and found what they found, that it was a strained oblique. To answer your question on timeline, I mean, they haven't given anything, but the issue with this is like Adalberto Mondesi felt really good in spring, and if he's just not going to pick up a bat for 2 weeks, I could see him being like, God, I want to make sure my swing's still good. Maybe I'll take a couple cuts, and you just can't do that. Like when your body it contorts like it does when you swing or you throw or you slide into a base. I mean, the oblique that's not an injury you can mess with. So they're going to have to make sure, like Jorge Soler last year, they tried to bring him back. He tried to play through it, then he went back down. It was a mess. And so, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, and I haven't heard this from anybody, but it seems at least like a month, maybe more, because you just can't test this thing. And it's unfortunate for him. I mean, look what Fernando Tatis and happened to his shoulder. These guys get hurt. That's what happens. But it's unfortunate for him and the Royals. It really hurts for the lineup. There's no question.
Is there a solution to? I'm gonna talk about sample size again because I got like three things in my baseball bullpen here, and is there anything over the course of 6 games into a 162 game season that you can start to say, oh, these are legitimate larger concerns, or am I going to try to extrapolate too much because we're only allowed to watch 1 game at a time? Because my concern is you say, hey, this team has basically 2 consistent players right now. Michael A. Taylor's been incredible, which we'll see. Like, I'll knock on wood, man. I hope that continues. And you get Whit Merrifield, who will continue to hit baseballs forever. But do you think that this is something where whenever Mondesi does end up being back and maybe someday another, I don't know, young up-and-coming, probably infielder shows up with 2 names and a junior, do you think that there is a reconstruction of the lineup that brings the best out of everybody, or is this just actually a more honest reflection of some of the limitations within the order right now?
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, 6 games, it's easy. I was talking about this with Dave Holtzman, who's a producer. It's just like statistician wizard. We were just talking about it, and it's easy coming off of a performance against Shane Bieber, who can put the ball literally wherever. If you wanted to put the ball on the Plaza Fountain right now, he could probably do it.
Right.
And Lance Lynn, who looked like he was drinking beers and throwing people out. It was kind of crazy. If you look, I mean, it's easy to think so recent with those. I mean, they faced 2 really top-notch pitchers and struggled, and it's easy to kind of, I don't know, go off that and make observations and draw conclusions and be pessimistic. But you just, like baseball, you need, Dayton says this all the time, like you need 40 games. You need a sample size. And while like Benintendi and Carlos Santana and I don't know, Jorge Soler and Salvi have struggled a little bit. It's not fair, really. 2 of the 4 have come against 2 of the best pitchers in the league. So it just, you need to take time. And then as far as lineup construction, I mean, I think sometimes we overdo that anyway. Yeah. I think it's just, I think, I mean, I don't know. Just if guys produce, no matter where they are, it'll pay off. I don't think there's any reason to like pull Benintendi right now from the 2 spot. There's 6 games. He's gotten some hits, and maybe the fat path will come around. I don't know how optimistic I am, but maybe it's possible. And you see, I just don't think there's any reason to really shuffle things. But look, they might see Michael A. Taylor as a chance to really spark some things, and I really think they need to get one of these 2 this weekend against Chicago, just for to keep the win in the sails.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I think that tracks if you go back and just play back any of the audio of things that I said after the first 2 games against the Rangers. It was, I don't care that it was against the Rangers, to take the term you just used. There's some wind in the sails. Like it was watching from home, being able to multitask, a fun first couple of games. The offense looked like it was exciting. There were walks being taken, balls being hit, and Michael A. Taylor becoming a star before our very eyes. I didn't think that it was going to look. I didn't think they're going to have double-digit runs every game for the rest of time. But there was some wind in the sails, and it would be pretty disappointing if by the second week of the season that was essentially completely gone.
Yeah, I mean, how you set the tone is really important. I mean, in everything. If my lead is bad, and it usually is, then it's probably the story's not going to be very good. So look, I know it's been 6 games, and I know after Sunday it'll be 8. But I mean, when you work all off season to build a foundation of belief and of wanting to compete, and then you just don't see results, and you kind of look the way you've looked the last 3 years, it creeps in the mind. There's no question. And if you do want to compete for an extended period of time this year, it can't happen. So that's why I think one of these next 2, they really just need to get the Sox. The White Sox have just almost spooked them, it seems like. They beat them 9 out of 10 times last year, and obviously last night was what it was. So I think it's important, especially when you face the Angels, who have Shohei Ohtani, who just hit a home run tonight, and you face the Blue Jays, who have expectations, and the Rays, who were in the World Series last year. And it's just a gauntlet. You need to get one of these 2 to just, I think, kind of calm down. And I do think, like, the rhythm of the season and having games back to back to back and hitters being able to get their timing down, I think that'll be important and help, but it will help everyone. So baseball's weird. It's hard to really capture.
Yeah. Alec, you're the best. I'm going to let you go before you wander into traffic and cost me some channel points. Thank you for making some time tonight. Beards and Rudy are both going to be...
I'm broke.
Absolutely.
I'm broke.
Earlier, they were asking for your address so they could call some sirens. Now they're going to be asking for your address because they're going to need a place to crash tonight while they try to get some channel points back. Thank you, Alec. We'll talk. Go ahead.
I feel so bad.
No. I want some channel points. I think you did a great job.
Feel real bad.
I didn't put the farm on it because I didn't really think it was going to be this sort of high stakes. But listen,
you mentioned Bobby Witt Jr. kind of, but not really. So I'm just gonna do it right here. That guy's incredible. I can't wait to see him. I mean, guy. What people don't realize about Bobby Witt Jr., he's like the nicest dude ever. I was on the backfield with a cup of coffee. He's like, "Oh, what'd you get us?" I was like, "Why are you asking me this?" Like, this guy.
I love
this
guy.
Nicest, he's like the nicest dude ever. So I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see him soon. You never know what happens. But that was the first interview in Kansas City sports history this year that didn't ask about him, really. So
yeah,
bravo. You won the points for a reason.
Yeah. See, I feel like I really doubled down. So where do you think he's going to bat tomorrow?
In Louisville.
No!
Down in Kentucky.
Get him out of here. Thank you,
the Royals
Alec.
playing in Kentucky?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, this game's
Thank
happening in Louisville tomorrow. Thank you, Alec, and thank you for staying indoors for the sake of my channel points. Alec Lewis of The Athletic. Follow him on Twitter at Alec_Lewis. You can tweet your mean tweets at him, choose prediction. Oh,
I heard
boy.
a car, too.
How many channels? Guys,
I told you I bet them all. I bet 25, or I think it was 24,500, and then it said you have 4 left over, and I said, fine, bet those 4 too.
Now
I have earned 160 throughout the interview, So I have 160, but I bet them all.
98% of the points ended up on yes because Rudy turned his wallet
of that
upside down.
98% was me.
Well, do I win half of the? I'm gonna see. I didn't put that many in. Do they just go away?
I will say
It's a percentage.
I was getting the segment set up, and I couldn't quite figure it out in time. I didn't manage to get it done in time.
Wow, so those were all Rudy's?
Yes,
Rudy.
I bet 24,000. So the way it works is
36,000 channel points. I have a monopoly here.
The way it works is so it depends. So right, so if you bet 50% of the no, if you were 50% worth, then you get 50% of the jackpot.
Okay, prediction result is no. Let's see. Hold on. So what just happened here? Let's see.
You will get the percentage.
I just got almost 5,000 channel points.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rudy.
You're welcome.
That's a lot of points just for me, Incredible Hulk. Yeah. Incredible Hulk's got 31,000. He put more into the pot than I did.
He did.
Wow.
Yeah. It gets split up. So you guys got 27.9 thousand between the two of you, and then it's based off the percentage of how many percentages of that points, how many percentages of it was his. He gets that percentage of the jackpot.
I'm gonna highlight a message with my Twitch points here, my channel points. Let's see, 100 points to highlight a message.
I mean, I can highlight a message. I got 100.
Rudy is big mad. Highlighted in the Twitch chat. You got to highlight a message, Rudy? Rudy, I've got a highlighted message here on the Twitch chat from @NotThatRudy. It says, "No, I'm not."
I can't send any more highlighted messages. That was it. I had one.
Go follow Alec on Twitter @Alec_Lewis. Read his stuff in The Athletic. That piece about with Denny Matthews is very fun. And he's just a content machine during baseball season. So if you care about the Royals in any way whatsoever, go read his work. And if you don't care about the Royals, but you do care about this show on some level, go follow him on Twitter and tell him next time that he needs to go do the interview from outside.
Did you know you can listen to Almost Entirely Sports anywhere, anytime? Well, you can. Just search for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcast. This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
I meant to warn you at the front end that this show is, we're going to talk about some NFL stuff and some Chiefs stuff, but you're going to have to, this show is going to be unapologetically this show today.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Thanks to Alec Lewis again for joining us and for staying indoors so I could win some channel points from Rudy.
I sent the fire truck to the wrong address. Waste of a call.
Mick Shaffer in about 20 minutes, by the way. We'll have him to close out the week. A couple things I want to talk about in the meantime. We'll get there. But the channel points, the predictions, and whatnot, those are all things exclusively over on the Sports Radio 810 Twitch, twitch.tv/Sports Radio 810. We've talked about the Twitch and interacted with the Twitch way more than we would like the text line or even Facebook or YouTube lately, even really Twitter. I will say this, if you're a podcast listener or whatever, and you just simply are not going to be around the show while it's live, it's okay if you don't want to go over and watch the show on Twitch. It's just been a really good platform that we've continued to be able to do more fun stuff with. And so if you're like, you know what, I want to chat with other listeners of the show during the show and give ourselves some more entertainment value that Josh, Rudy, and Beards cannot provide on their own because, you know, they're not that good at this. If you want to interact with each other, you want to see if we can continue to add things like little interactions over the course of the show and all that stuff, it's great. If you don't, it's totally fine. It's not like we're not going to live or die on the Twitch this, immediately. But it's just been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun interacting this way and kind of doing the show through the Twitch. So if you want to check it out, there is officially my pointing you in that direction. We got the little chat overlay. We got the little, if you follow us on Twitch, you get a little beards of GIF is what I was going to say. I'm incredibly drunk and tired. You get a little GIF of Beards as Fire Elmo from Steve Fitzpatrick made many moons ago. That was an ESPN Kansas City GIF that was made by Steve that has now made it up on the Twitch. So it's a good time over there if you're interested in getting into another level of the show as we continue to try to make it a bigger part of the show. It's been a lot of fun. Here's something else we need to fix. Beards, we need to fix something. I need you to help me fix it, Beards.
Okay.
Right now,
Yes.
the Twitter display name of our dear Rudy Salazar
Oh, yes.
is Johnny Juzang Stan. Or Stan account? Is that right?
Yes, Johnny Juzang Stan account.
Yeah, just some random dude that I play soccer or whatever.
Just it's the greatest player in UCLA and Kentucky basketball history.
It was a guy who lost in the tournament this year, Beards.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
First ever. You go first four to final four.
First ever to lose in the tournament?
That's
First ever.
He's the
unlikely.
best loser?
I would argue that we could make a
Scored
run
more
at that
points than
title.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar ever did
In what?
in the NCAA tournament. And at UCLA.
Is that because there were less games in the tournament back then?
No, because he just has more points than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, it's just a fact, Beards. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar never scored a point in the NCAA tournament. It's just a fact.
Okay.
He also has more points in the NCAA in a single
Uh-huh.
NCAA tournament than Bill Walton.
It's because the NCAA tournament didn't
Did
exist
you
back then.
guys-
did it?
see-
Beards. It's because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar never played in the NCAA. His name was Lou Alcindor, Beards.
You've been over this one.
Goodness. And he actually did have more points than Bill Walton in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, that's fair. Bill Walton didn't score that much.
Bill Walton had the second most heading into this tournament. Then Johnny Juzang passed him.
I've had this on my Google Doc here for a very long time. Did you guys see there is an HBO Lakers series coming out?
Yes.
So
I did.
There's a
think so.
handful. There's an HBO Lakers series. Quincy Isaiah is cast as Magic Johnson. Solomon Hughes is cast as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Never heard of him.
Jason Clark is playing Jerry West.
Can't dribble with his left hand.
Who is it playing Bus? Isn't it John C. Reilly?
Well, hold on. So Adrian Brody is playing Pat Riley.
That'll be good.
Michael
checks out.
Chiklis is playing Red Auerbach. John C. Reilly is playing Jerry Buss.
That's a weird one.
Not as weird as this one, my friends.
I'm trying to go for it. I saw the cast list. I'm just trying to remember what else is there.
Larry Bird is being played by
Oh, that's
Larry
right.
Bird.
Bo Burnham.
Checks out.
Larry Bird is being played by Bo Burnham.
Feels right.
Rudy, I hate to disagree with you so publicly, but it really doesn't. It might be great. Honestly, usually whenever there's a casting this out of left field, it ends up being great because you're like, what? Bo Burnham's playing Larry Bird? What? It's because like whatever they saw in the casting department, HBO's got a good casting department.
They're usually pretty good about this.
I'm excited about it. Jason Segel is playing Paul Westhead. And there's some, I think it's, Sally Field is playing Jessie Buss, Jerry's mother. Bo Burnham's going to play Larry Bird. I've been meaning to talk about that for like 3 weeks. Anyway.
I think he is kind of tall, like Bo Burnham. A little tall and lanky.
Rudy's display name has to change, Beards.
Yes.
It has to change.
Yeah. I don't want to force anything though.
Well, I think we're going into a weekend. I'd like to suggest a couple of options here. Number one, we could go Rudy Witt Jr., although I think that could wait until the call-up happens, maybe tomorrow. I think he's not going to do this one, but I think this one's funny. He could change his display name to Rudy Salazar. Nah. I like that one very much. I think maybe the leader in the clubhouse, for Rudy at least, he could be the disrespected Rudy Salazar.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Johnny Juzang Stan account, I feel like its moment has come and gone. We need another evolution for you.
I'll probably just want to remember go back to Rudy Salazar for the time being.
I think you got a bit though.
I know, I agree, but it's just I don't like. Something's got to grab me. Like Johnny Juzang.
He grabbed you?
He did. Grabbed my heart. I never let go.
It seems bad.
No.
You could die.
Just won't understand, Beards.
People aren't supposed to touch each other's hearts with their
two people
hands. That's
care
bad.
about each other very much. And one of them grabs you by the heart.
Ouch.
It's magical.
Really painful.
Johnny Jew Payne. Another thing I've been mentioning for like 8 months, the race at Kansas Speedway is going to be called Bushy McBush Race.
Wait, what?
Did you not see
this?
Is
that real? No.
This was, I think, pre-April Fools.
I didn't see any of this.
Kansas Speedway welcomes the Bushy McBush Race 400 in May at Kansas Speedway.
Did they do like a vote?
Yes.
And they just are actually honoring?
It's brought to you by Busch Light. It's not offensive. It's funny. Got good headlines.
Cheers to them, because you know how many of these people they put up the vote, right?
Yeah.
And Facey McFace or something like that wins, and they're just like, oh, we're not gonna go with that.
Doggy McDog, Bodie McBoatface. That was my favorite, Bodie McBoatface.
Yeah,
that's where I'll start. Was Bodie McBoatface.
Good job,
excellent.
Good job to the Kansas Speedway for just being like, you know what? Hey, we put this ballot up. This one, we're respecting it.
The other finalists were the Busch Latte 400.
It's also so
the
good.
Nectar of the Cobs 400.
It's also really good.
And the For the Farmers 400.
It's
Bushy
solid.
McBush Race 400 at Kansas Speedway, presented by Busch Light. Whenever that race gets here in May, I just want T-shirts.
Whenever that race gets here in May, my Twitter display name will be Bushy McBushface.
I think it should be Rudy McRudy Face.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, that works.
I think that's pretty good.
Like I said, it's got to come natural. It's got to grab me by the heart.
That's gotta hurt,
Reach
man.
inside.
That's gotta hurt.
Grab it.
Like through the throat?
No, through the chest. You don't know.
So they're breaking ribs to do this?
I mean, you just go through the chest. Why would you go through the throat?
It's like Larry Bird. Because he's gonna punch you right through the what's this part of your rib cage called?
Sternum.
Yeah, the Burnham.
I hate you.
Let's take a break.
Take the show with you wherever you go. Listen live on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app and 810WHB.com. This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
I've gotten 2 thumbs up, by the way, on the rib puns. I just got notifications pop up of people validating my rib pun. So, Beard, you can go to hell.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
If you wonder how often this show basically ends up in reruns, Beard's just played a liner about me being defensive about a rib pun that I made. I've moved from ribs to sternums. Like, that's the evolution so far.
Liner for everything. Always say it.
It really is. We got a hell of a catalog at this point.
Is there a liner for you trying to talk to us with food in your mouth?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
There is.
That's fair.
During the break, Beard was
Especially
saying
sweet tarts.
Beard was saying something about some NBA nonsense I didn't really care about. But the funniest thing was that it sounded like who's the guy with the jowls who played with Sully in Monsters Inc. We're full circle. John Goodman. It sounded like John Goodman had a mouthful of Hot Pocket and was trying to talk to us over the talkback. That's what Beard sounded like. I don't know why so specifically, but that's all true. Another hour. Mick Shaffer, 41 Action News, closes down the week with us next.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB. At 10, it's the Kansas City's favorite sports station, 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City. This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
I can think of no two better people to spend my Friday nights with.
Naked and drunk.
Than Randy and Jake. Rudy and Josh.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Last hour of the week, we close it out as we do every week with Mick Shaffer of 41 Action News. Hey, Mick.
Hi, Josh. What's going on?
I'm just having a
Besides
good time.
Shirt, that shirt is going on.
This shirt is going on. And here's the thing. It's a black and white little Hawaiian number.
Yeah.
The fact that it's black and white means it's my, 10th most audacious shirt in my wardrobe. This is relatively subtle for me.
Very tame.
I like to, it's a casual Friday. I got this undershirt here that I'm wearing under it because I'm not, I'm leaving it open a little bit.
It's a great spot for an undershirt.
Letting it breathe.
Under it.
Well, hold on. What's that? Oh, there's no sleeves. Oh, I'm ready. Whenever this hour's up, you're going to find me at literally any bar that's open after 10. And I got one dose of the vax. I did get one dose, by the way, since we talked last. Easter Sunday. Got a shot in the arm.
How did it feel?
Perfectly fine.
You were fine after
that?
I
honestly did not realize she had done the shot until
I barely felt
Band-Aid was on. I was like, did you?
Yeah, barely felt it.
Did I get faked out? Am I getting punked right now?
Yeah.
But then, my arm ended up being a little sore 4 hours later. Yeah. But if I would have done one push-up, it would have also been that level of sore.
Right. It's I don't believe that's a side effect of the shot. A really sharp needle went into your arm very deep. That's a direct effect. It should hurt. That's not a side effect.
Yeah, I did feel a little fatigued and very weak, but that was also before I got the shot. So it's really I'm having a really hard time pinpointing where exactly. You're double shots now, right? You got through both rounds.
I'm invincible.
I mean, really, you could. Lebo was saying he's about to hit. I think it's a 2-week. Incubation period after your second one before you can go
fully on,
lick public toilets or whatever.
I'm going to do a superhero landing off a building. I'm going to try that.
Oh, so this is the thing that people don't understand. The COVID vaccine keeps you from getting any illnesses and from all physical harm.
Yeah, you can't die.
You'll never die.
You're like Deadpool, basically.
Yeah. You made a Deadpool reference last week also.
It's one of my top 10 all-time favorite movies, so why wouldn't I?
It was very, very good. It's very good. You know what? I forgot. Something happened before this segment started that I want to revisit. Beards, do not let me forget to get back to this because I'm going to ask, again, Mick's weekend plans, and I want to see where that ultimately takes us. I watched half of Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn sort of based movie. I did fall asleep. I heard it was mostly pretty good. It was fine, and then I fell asleep.
That was dumb.
I thought it was fine.
It seems like it's fine. Your mic's a little quiet, Beards. It's a little quiet. Mick and I are loud boys.
That's also fair.
But I will say, I'll give you credit for this, in fact. Because last week you bullied me about not getting my shot yet and not having gotten anywhere on Ted Lasso. Yeah. I'm now through the first half of season 1 of Ted Lasso. Yeah. 5 episodes, or actually I've already seen the first one. It's great.
It's great.
Of course it's great.
It's just easy, it's light, it's wholesome, it makes you feel good.
Yeah. And then I got through episode 5. I'm not gonna, because Beard hasn't seen it yet. He now also has access to it.
I gave you the password that you've been borrowing.
Not only have I gotten halfway through that particular drug, I have also been like, hey, you want to hit? Here, take this USB drive. Just take it. Just see where it takes you. Just see what it makes you feel. But then I got through episode 5. Episode 5 is a real kind of tearjerker moment that shows up at the end of episode 5.
Tough one.
This show runs the freaking gamut, man. I've already forgotten what the specifics of the joke were, but there was some joke. Oh, it was a joke about branding. The joke about branding. And he said, I feel bad for the cows, but you got to do it. And then the boss lady does not react. Mm-hmm. I cracked up immediately. Yes. Yeah. And then the show says, now if we were in Kansas, I would be waiting for you to stop laughing right now.
Yep.
And I was still laughing at that moment, and I laughed. It's just so good. It's just so good.
I've seen it twice, and there's a lot of things you don't pick up because he does talk fast.
Yeah.
And it's British humor as well thrown in there. There's a lot of jokes that I missed the first time around.
If girlfriend Renee doesn't watch it on her own, I'm going to just make her watch it, and then I'll watch it second time.
Tie her down, pry her eyes open with toothpicks.
Yeah,
and make her watch it.
That's usually what I do, but I put earbuds in and I make her listen to this show just because I need some amount of feedback.
You need someone to listen?
Just literally anybody, because I know Beards doesn't. Rudy
He's not
doesn't.
listening right now.
No, he's on Reddit. Those are his Reddit eyes right now. But so we were chatting before we got started here, and I said, what are you doing this weekend? Whatever. So I said, hey Mick, I'm gonna Magic Radio, Theater of the Mind. Mick, what are your weekend plans?
Going to Omaha.
Mick? Omaha. What is this? Peyton Manning? Where? Why?
My son has a basketball tournament.
You want to do how you made the joke you made the first time? Because I thought, honestly, if I can give you some notes, I think it was funnier.
What did I say?
Hey, Mick, why are you going to Omaha?
My stupid kid.
No,
has a basketball
you're going to a children's basketball tournament.
Oh, that's right. I said I'm going to my kid's basketball tournament. Not even my kid.
See, it's still
I just like going to watch other people's kids play sports.
Beards, can you dump that? Can you dump the first take of it?
Probably.
I will go outside and play catch, but with the neighbor's kids, not my own.
Yeah, that's honestly nice to have some versatility, less responsibility. You hit him in the head, it's neighbor Mick.
Yeah.
Conked our kid, but it's not your kid. You don't have to worry about your health insurance or whatever for him. So what age range is your child, and also how tall is your child?
He's 14, 8th grade. He's playing up with the 15-year-olds this tournament. So going to probably meet some fellas in this tournament. He's 6'3".
He's 6'3" at age 14.
Yep.
Who do you think the father is?
We're looking into that. We tried to get with our coronavirus vaccines. Can you do a paternity test? That needle over there, could that be just take some blood? And then you put under a microscope, we can see who it is. He looks just like me. He's built just like me.
Yeah.
I swear I was 6'2" at one time, but I'm already shrinking down to 6'1".
Yeah,
but I mean, here's the deal: we gotta really ramp it up because I know I might get to 6'4", but 6'4" is nothing really in college or in high school. So you gotta develop. You gotta be a shooter, more of a ball handler.
Yep.
So if you're a 6'4" post, whatever, there's a million of those. But if you're a 6'4" shooting guard, okay, that's something.
Yeah,
that's something.
So that's the path right now. You're saying, listen, if they try to teach you a post up move, you tell that coach to F off.
That's the desired path. But right now they're running 4 out, 1 in, and he's the 1 in.
That's too bad. What this had inspired was we've gotten occasionally moments of Beards talking about his numerous athletic achievements, and I was having a very fun time imagining your 14-year-old 6'3" son just posting up Beards and just absolutely flattening. Now, most people don't know this. Beards has kind of, people talked about Charles Barkley, his game basically revolved just around his ass, just shoving people out of the way.
That is the most important position, important body part in basketball, I will maintain, is your butt.
If you try to walk past Beards in the hallway, he'll just do it just to stay on his toes. But Beards, what was the extent of your high school basketball prowess? You played in high school, yes?
Yes. 1A school at the time.
That's the good one, right?
Yeah.
We want to be number one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There were no cuts, so
good.
It was my first
Your
year.
mic's a little loud now.
It was my first year playing competitive basketball as a freshman in high school. We beat 2 teams all year, one of which was a Topeka team, and then the other one was the Kansas School for the Deaf.
Nice.
We were not good that year.
They got some athletes.
Yeah,
they got some
ballers.
facilities there too.
Absolutely. I was glad you beat the team from Topeka, so it didn't sound like bullying. That way you can bully. It's just about you guys finally got your dubs.
Were you guys sanctioned to go to the postseason with everybody else?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's where we beat the School for the Deaf.
Okay.
I played a rec league basketball league. I think it was the summer of. I honestly, one of my friends was on the team. I think said it was 10 years ago, so I would have been 16. I think we played either 6 or 8 games. We lost all of them, and we did have a game where the other team started fouling out and running out of players before we did.
Oh boy!
And then we met them at 4v4, and I think we ended up losing that game by 3 points. Even though we were playing 5-on-4
for a decent amount of time. Also, coach got ejected for throwing a chair. for kicking a chair. That was one of the heights of my athletic achievements.
That was your basketball athletic achievement.
And I'm not proud of it. It just happened, you know?
Happened.
It's just one of the things.
Relaying it.
It's just
What
one of the
happened?
things that happened in my life.
That makes you like a top 99 percentile of radio people.
That's probably true. I've put on sneakers before. It's not. I don't
Yes.
exclusively wear flip flops, so I've got that over somebody. It's fascinating. What is the experience like watching a bunch of? I mean, you've now been a dad for at least 14 years.
17 years.
17 years.
Yep.
I couldn't remember. Wasn't confident enough. At what point does watching your children play sports become not physically painful? Or is there a bell curve in there somewhere?
So it's always great. I love it. I'm a sports fan, and I want them to do good. And thanks to their mom, they got a lot of athletic juice going there. And so,
is your wife roiding up your children?
Yes,
Okay.
literally, yet another needle.
Yeah,
there.
there's a lot of needles in the Shaffer household.
So I love it. There are some low points. So 8-year-old baseball is the best. You want to know why?
Yeah.
It's the last year of machine pitch. And so
Yeah.
they've been playing machine pitch for a couple of years. They got it down. They can all hit, and they can field a little bit, and it is a blast, and every game is like 22-20, and everybody's
last year
happy.
I was good at baseball.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, if you had a bad day, you were 2 for 4, maybe, right?
Right.
Everybody else, you're just raking. It's
Yep.
awesome. And then comes 9-year-old baseball, and that's the worst.
Yes.
Because that's the first year of kid pitch.
Yep.
And it is nothing but walks and strikeouts and tears. Those 3 things. Walks, strikeouts, tears.
I was gonna say hit batters, but that includes the tears.
I mean, you
part
got to
of the
figure.
tears.
I mean,
walks.
that kid
Yeah.
might be a head taller than you, might be bringing it at that point, which is, I don't know, 50 miles an hour.
Mhm.
But they're close, and he doesn't know where it's going.
Nope.
And you learn about happy feet, and you're like, okay, do I really want to play this?
Yeah.
And so
That was the last year I played baseball.
yeah, participation level, amount drops going from 9 to 10.
Yeah.
But no, I love it. So it's great. I'll be missing my oldest son play 2 high school baseball games this weekend. So yeah, a lot going on.
Whenever I said bell curve, I do think you hit, at least for me, my brother played baseball for a while in kind of that age. I remember going to kids playing t-ball. You have to divorce yourself from the idea that it's baseball at all. But on some level, it's tremendous entertainment because there's just nonsense happening. You get that sweet spot of machine pitch. We're having fun again. But whenever you are at that spot where a kid legally has to throw the baseball, you don't have a machine, you don't have coach pitch anymore either. Whenever a kid has to throw the baseball, those games get long.
Oh yeah.
Those games get lopsided usually because if you've got one kid who can throw strikes, nothing else matters. And those games became for me about how great the crinkle cut fries at 3-2 baseball
They're
were.
so good.
They're so
Best
good.
fries in town.
There was a thing going around. We talk about this. There's a version of this every week, basically. But recently, I saw another a pick 3, and it was like waffle fries, curly fries, regular fries, crinkle cut fries. Most people were saying out of here with crinkle cut, and it's fine. The thing that kept me from saying that is the fact that I think to this day, one of the best fries I've ever had are crinkle cut fries from 3-2
With the cheese.
the
so
cheese.
good.
It's just they're the right amount of salt. Just a little ketchup with them. Also, they're beautiful.
The best deal is like for 3-2, they have 27 fields now. Like,
do they really?
We've been going there for some kid for some reason or another for like the past, 13 years or so. And even to this day, varsity baseball teams play there. My son played there the other night against Shawnee Mission West. That's where they play their home games. It was awesome. Here I am back at 3-2.
Yeah.
Just depends on, and all 27 are basically different size fields, or like they have a cluster of different size fields. And so, 3-2 is the best.
I'm realizing, it's been an incredibly long time now since I've been there. And, I could just, they don't ask you when you walk in, like, which kid you're related to, right? So I could probably just go and
It's funny,
just
they
get
do
the
now.
Do they actually?
With COVID, yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
For a lot of events to where,
Yeah.
like, if there's limited tickets, you got to say, okay, you're with so and so. Okay, they check you off, and you and nobody else can go in under your name.
I'll just say I'm with Smith.
Get there early and say you're with Smith, and
I'm
you'll
with
probably
Smith.
be good.
So let's say post-COVID, looking for the entertainment, I need to get those fries back in my life, so I could probably just walk in. My thought is, what if I get some Oakleys and polo with no branding, like just a Nike swoosh on the polo, and then just a notepad, and even like something that looks like it could be a radar gun. And then I'm just eating French fries in a bleacher all day with an icy, trying to not make eye contact with any of the dads who think that their 12-year-old's about to get a college scholarship.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be fun.
That'd be great.
I feel like that might be, maybe that's my new character. You know, maybe that's the mini series I'm gonna develop. I just think it almost certainly turns dark at some point.
I would think so.
What's the heartbreak?
I mean, you're probably, I don't know,
Getting arrested? Is it me getting arrested?
You'll get in a fight with an umpire.
Yeah,
probably.
Ooh, that would be great. I get really, because there was the story of I've forgotten his name, the famous journalist who covered Muhammad Ali and wrote a billion things for a billion years, and then he started covering just like this local high school girls basketball
Dave
team.
Kindred.
Thank you.
Sporting News.
This might be my Dave Kindred sort of offshoot, is that I go there for the fries, but I get really invested in some 14-year-old baseball team, and I'm just living and dying with every pitch by the end of the season. They get screwed because some dork kid gets his elbow in the strike zone and it grazes his elbow armor, and they refuse to call him out. And I think I'm mixing my storylines now, and then I get into a fight with an umpire. And then it becomes sort of a Brockmire situation, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? A lot of them are bad enough that you would have great reason to fight them.
I mean, I think that if you really took down one ump one time, I think it would be like beating up the biggest, toughest guy in prison. Where
umps will never mess with you again.
If you stone cold stun one 19-year-old umpire, I think you're good for life.
They go down to 12 out there.
Do they
yeah,
really?
There's some young ones.
Oh man.
Hey, yeah, 12-year-olds are called 7-year-old baseball. Yeah.
Did you ever umpire?
I did.
What age were you umpiring at? I feel like this might
high school.
Did you ever eject anybody? Did you get into a fight?
No.
Any altercations?
I feel like I had thicker skin than most people back then, or maybe most umpires back then. Here's the deal, and it's a good thing. We're all we're all trying to make sure, okay, we're yelling less at the umps and all that, and that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. And we are, but in the process, the ump's skin has gotten really thin.
Yeah.
To where I've seen guys turn around after somebody says, come on. That's all I said. Come on. I'm like, you can't take that. You got to, as an ump, you can't take it. Come on. I don't even know what's coming out. It comes out before I know it.
Right.
I said it. I'm like, I didn't mean to say, come on. I didn't mean to say that. Your call was that bad, though. It elicited that response from me.
I think the cutoff line, the absolute tamest thing they should be even allowed to turn their head around for is if it's come on, blue, because then you're at least directing it directly. But even then, man, that is so tame. If you're not mother effing his entire family, I feel like we got to play ball here, folks.
We got to play ball.
Absolutely. Listen, I know that you're 16. And you're just trying to get enough money to buy a movie ticket to go to take girls on dates during your sophomore summer, but I think sophomore would be too young for 16. Listen, I was held back several times.
You turned 16 in sophomore year.
You're just trying to get movie ticket money. I understand that, but it is important to me that you right now. My son is out there on that mound painting the black right now, and I need you to respect that for him.
You're gonna be a great dad of a sports.
I think I'm gonna be a roaming father of none, watcher of all, and my Oakleys, my polo, my flat brim cap, and a fake radar gun. I feel like that, or maybe I'll be an umpire.
It's funny, with the younger kids, 12, 13, 14-year-olds that are out there umpiring, their dads will come out and watch them and then also kind of police the fans.
Good.
So
that's what I want.
You got different layers of authority there.
And then I need the dads of those dads. I need
you
grandpas out there.
Policing the game. You got the fans policing the ump. You got the ump's dad policing the fans.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I think that. I didn't realize that I missed that in my day-to-day life, but I think I did. Did you see it was Mets Marlins, I think, where the guy stuck his elbow in the strike zone?
That was so bad.
We can't let them get away with this.
No. And the ump even said afterward, I should have called it a strike. Well, I mean, I guess it's a review thing, right?
Right, so they reviewed it, but that wasn't within
you can't review
reviewability, I guess.
You can review to see if it hit him, but you can't review to see if, like, okay, that was, which, I mean, if you see it, I mean, come on.
That's the thing. I know Beards has said that he thinks he's in the minor. I think you might be with Beards on this. I'm not 100% sure. Beards is willing to, like, completely forego replay or at the very least pare it way down. I think what I would say is, hey, like, if you get to a monitor and you see something that you bleeped up, you can fix it because we all see it. Like, the thing that I hate is whenever we know in 3 seconds, just give the ump an earpiece.
Yeah.
When we know in 3 seconds watching on TV what happened, just fix it and play the game. But I don't know. I feel like you might just say, you know what, let's get back to 3 and 2. Let them play. Heckle the umps.
I think human error, I'm okay with human error being part of all sports.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't hated replay as much as I thought. I would do it, make it a time deal to where, like, okay, you have a minute and a half. Or less.
Yeah.
To reverse this call. And if your big ass waddles over there too late, then okay, we're not moving on.
Yeah.
The fans are gonna boo you. You suck. You got to turn this around. Because the reviews in all sports take way too long. College basketball is the absolute worst at it.
I tell you what, man. The one sweet spot of a sort of disappointing national championship game was that game didn't end with 45 minutes of fouls and timeouts. And
every time a ball goes out of bounds, we're pretty sure that guy, he was the only one over there in the corner knocking it out, but we're going to go take a look at that monitor.
We're going to see. Maybe it passed through him.
While we go look at that on the monitor.
Yeah.
Here.
We'll be back right after these messages, and we're back, and they're still at the monitor. And they called it a charge. Now, there was no contact. They just said charge. I don't know what just happened there. It's so frustrating because that's one that I don't know. Maybe it's just the time limit. Maybe we talk about putting a pitch clock out there. Everybody has to play by a shot clock. Maybe we just need a shot clock for all of the replay and everything.
Absolutely.
Usually we know within, again, like 30 seconds. I don't need the ump to go to a monitor. I don't need a ref to go to a monitor. I don't need anybody holding a tablet or going under a hood. Just let the head ref have a freaking AirPod in, and then somebody in the communications booth can just go, yeah, that was he's out. That was out on him. That was a strike. He's out at first. Whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. I think we can solve that problem with an AirPod and a shot clock.
I'd say 95% of the time we know the right call after, like, the first replay.
Yes. We just get to speed that up.
Yeah.
And we have the technology because we know it. Like, we at home know the answer before the umps do.
True story.
I feel like we fixed it. I feel like, Jesse, guys, did we fix baseball? Usually,
did we?
All sports.
Usually,
nail all sports.
Usually, we don't fix baseball until, like, the All-Star break. The All-Star break is usually whenever we go, all right, how we're going to fix baseball. We've talked about giving all the players crack. There's a famous promo that is around here somewhere.
I saw the Twins got all vaxxed today.
First
did
or
they?
Second
shot, I'm not sure.
I missed that.
Why has that not happened already?
Because Josh Allen is waiting for more information. I think that's got to be it, right? Like, I think if the team goes, yeah, let's just do it.
That might be a Minnesota thing because I think the Timberwolves just all did that.
Oh,
as well.
You know what?
Yeah.
That's actually a good point. I wonder if it would go state by state like that.
I mean, you don't have to do it, but just say, hey, here it is available.
Yeah,
and then we're gonna go. They should have done that for the NCAA tournament. VCU would have been saved.
We got 30 shots right here in the clubhouse. Somebody come give me your shoulder. Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, so we should be in charge of sports and I think governments and vaccinate. I feel like we're really simplifying some things here.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like Fauci should be in charge of Major League Baseball. Manfred should be in charge of the CDC, and they should both really just be figureheads for us. And 3 and 2 fries should be available everywhere. I want every restaurant to have 3 and 2's French fries. Have you had 3 and 2's fries, Beards?
I've not.
Oh, dude, just go out. It'll be a little creepy, but you'll get past it. Just go out there, just by yourself, and go sit in the bleachers, or if they even let you in the bleachers, but sit with some people and just awkwardly kind of stare at them, and then go get some 3 and 2 fries, and then eat them, and then be like, all right, come on, here we go. I'm not Henny. What do you say? I'm not. Just start cheering for random kids.
Just random players.
Yes. That's. He's got beards. I
the
think
fries
we
will
should
be worth it. If you get arrested, the fries will be totally worth it.
I think honestly, I think maybe we just do this as a show at some point because this is an outing that I'm totally here for. Where we go, I imagine it's still free. Yeah, I feel like during tournaments they charge you for admission sometimes or whatever.
Yeah, you got to charge. Just at least $7 for you, Beards,
to get into 3 and 2.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
If you got a 12-year-old playing baseball, if I'm going to see a t-ball game, I got to give them $7 at the entrance.
Well, they don't play t-ball at 12. Which age are we talking here? A t-ball game, no, you won't have to. But I don't think they're doing t-ball at 3 and 2. They do coach pitch.
So am I paying a ticket for a coach pitch game?
Probably not, because that's a league game and it's on like a weeknight to where it's not a tournament. So yeah, if you don't want to pay, go coach pitch.
Yeah, so we'll go to a non-tournament, non-sanctioned coach pitch event. So here's what we're gonna do. You can
just
walk
take the show on the road.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can do a remote. But I mean, I can think of times with my family where I am 100% confident that we walked in and my mom and I would walk straight to the little hut with all the stuff. We just go get the fries. We get a couple of ices, and then you just go find an open spot on a bleacher, and you sit down, eat the fries, and whenever something exciting happens, you clap. Maybe you get comfortable. You start a little chant. Maybe you bring some of your own liquid from home, put it in the icy, swirl that baby up, and then all of a sudden you're out there leading the chant. You're cheering, "Let's go, Jaguars" or whatever, and we've got a nice little outing.
If your team, the side you're sitting on, starts losing, just walk over to the other side.
Nobody will notice.
No.
Nobody will notice.
That's good. Here's the thing, man. Do you know how like outwardly weird you would have to be about it for anyone to confront you? Because if you're because as far as they know, you could
be
you're Timmy's big brother from college. Yeah.
Not everybody knows everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. You're just roam around, whatever. And if all things,
and if somebody confronts you, so there's no Timmy on this team, you go, "Oh, wrong field.
You go,
just go somewhere else."
This is field 12.
Not again.
Oh, darn. Well, could you please point me to field 11? And it's like, yeah, it's right over there. And there's not a game happening. You're like, well, I gotta call my aunt.
Maybe I don't have a nephew.
Today's Wednesday, right?
Oh man. What year is it right now? I'm really confused. Yeah, no, my nephew Timmy, he's 12. It's 2009. What? And then all of a sudden, it really is a miniseries. Maybe that's where it turns tragic. I think we've solved a lot of problems here. This has been great. I missed 3 and 2 fries, and apparently coach pitch baseball. Let's take a break. Mick Shaffer, 41 Action News, is here. Whenever we come back, we'll talk about probably a...
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
Championship Barbecue is now available at your fingertips with the new Joe's Kansas City Barbecue online ordering app. Place your order for the legendary Z-Man or Rocket Pig sandwiches, slabs of ribs, or a burn-end dinner right now. It's just a few clicks from your smartphone, and your order will be hot and ready for curbside pickup. The new Joe's Kansas City Barbecue app is perfect for a weeknight dinner with a family or feeding your entire office. So don't wait. Download the brand new Joe's Kansas City Barbecue app today.
If you could create your dream engagement ring, what would it look like? Come to Shane Company and let us help you bring your vision to life. You'll be delighted when you see our selection of unique ring settings, designed in-house and meticulously crafted to look beautiful from every angle, in platinum, yellow gold, white gold, and our signature shade of rose gold. In addition to the classics, we have trending styles, stunning halo designs, including popular hidden halos, elegant floral rings, intricate vintage looks, Art Deco designs, and more. For your center stone, choose a sparkling diamond in your favorite shape, or perhaps a vibrant ruby or colorful sapphire. Our sapphires come in over a dozen colors, like cognac, raspberry, and blue-green. All our stones are natural, ethically sourced, and hand-picked for their beauty. We can't wait to help you bring your vision to life. This ring represents your love story. Why not make it perfect?
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Hello, everybody. Jack Harry here for Shoal Creek Golf Club. It has been my favorite course in the Kansas City area for years and years. Shoal Creek in the Northland is rated #1 in Missouri by Golf Advisor and is open to the public and always has excellent course conditions and a beautiful 11,000 square foot clubhouse. It's perfect for weddings, banquets, and corporate events. So come on out to the Northland and check out Shoal Creek. You'll love it. 816-407-7242 or online at shoalcreekgolf.com.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is a cash-out refi? It's using the equity in your home to pay off high-interest credit cards.
Paid it off! Yes!
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. With mortgage rates at a record low 1.875%, you can save hundreds each month and skip your next 2 payments. You'll pay nothing out of pocket, and we never charge for a home appraisal if we can't close your loan. And remember, our local lending experts speak mortgage and love translating for our customers. Eliminating debt means putting your dreams back on the table today.
Updated bathroom?
Updated bathroom and a pool table?
Don't push it, Rick.
Get started with our fast and easy zipline tool at goldenoaklending.com.
NMLS 114937, 1.875% fixed, 2.913% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit. JLB Corporation, 8595 College Boulevard, Overland Park, Kansas.
Hey everyone, it's Mr. Truck KC, and I'm so happy because spring is finally here. It's been a long winter, so let's fire up those trucks and head out for some fun. I'm talking tailgating, fishing, boating, and some four-wheeler fun. Of course, you need the right vehicle, so go see my friends at Roberts Robertson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Excelsior Springs before planning that trip. There's nothing better than pulling up in the king of trucks, the Chevy Silverado. I used to think that song, There's Something People Love About a Pickup Man, was just a song. I was wrong. It is a lifestyle. It definitely turns heads when you drive the Silverado. Let's face it, every other truck is just an average truck compared to the Silverado, and Mr. Truck Casey only drives the best. What are you waiting for? Head on down to Roberts Robinson and get your vehicle right now, and I'll see you at the lake. Go on robertsrobinson.com or check out the Roberts Robinson Facebook page. Don't forget to tell them that Runny sent you.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
It's good to have you guys while you're having me.
It's good to be had.
Yeah. No,
So I'm happy to hear
I'll be had anytime.
We all just want to be had in life.
Yeah, we do.
That's it, really. Everybody just
Attention.
wants to be had.
Yeah.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
We've talked about T-ball, coach pitch, kid pitch baseball with Mick Shaffer, 41 Action News, who's with us here for the remainder of the hour, as he is every Friday to wrap up the week. You want to talk about the Royals a little bit? The answer can be no, but
I would love to.
Let's do that. You know who could use a machine to throw for him? Brad Keller. How is that?
Well, he's basically been playing T-ball. He's been setting it up on a tee for them. Okay.
It's been so. Listen, we talked to Lesky last night. We talked to Alec Lewis earlier. I think that it's still worth noting. We're in start number 2 for Brad Keller.
Absolutely.
It's a very small sample size. He's pitched a total now of, I still think, sub 5 innings with all the fractions of his 2 very, very underwhelming starts. And also, it seems like something's not right. If he ends up on the IL at some point, would not be shocking. They moved his start yesterday back a day, even though it moved him from going up against the Cleveland lineup that would have been friendlier for his second outing than what happened to him yesterday against Chicago. So where are you at right now on Brad Keller, 2 bad starts, and how concerning you're allowing yourself to
I
be
mean,
by that?
it's 2 starts. It's small sample size. If it happens a third time, let's burn it all down. Okay, that's where we're at.
Yep,
that's where we're at.
Yep.
No, it's been bad. It's been bad, Brad, and we haven't seen bad Brad like that at all.
Bad Keller.
So all of that factors in. It's still early. I too wonder. Okay, is there something bothering him? After the game, though, he says I need. His answer is I need to go back to challenging hitters, and I'm like, it feels like you are challenging them, and they are pushing right back. Feels like you've challenged them, and that's not been the issue. Had some walk issues, but he is getting, knocked around the ballpark. He's given up. Granted, it was 9 starts last year, but before the first inning ended of his 2021 existence, he'd given up more extra base hits than he had, or doubles than he had all of last season.
Yep.
And he's already there with the extra base hits after 2 starts this year with the homers in Chicago. And you're right, that is not a great lineup to try to get right against. So it's so bad with guys not named, Brad Keller or Jacob Brad Keller or Brady Singer.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, when does Duffy pitch again? That's how bad it is. When does he pitch again? Junis was great too.
Yeah.
Can Duffy pitch soon? I feel like he might be one of those guys that, like, when the other guys around him are struggling, that maybe he gains more confidence or relaxes more and maybe pitches his best.
Yeah.
I based that on one sample size, but he was great against the Indians. So I'm not ready to burn it all down. We talked earlier today on the Zone of, like, the Royals are 3-3 and could really, really easily be like 1-5 right now.
Yeah.
Down 5-0 in one of those wins. Down 4-0 in another one of those wins. So, yeah, thank goodness the offense has shown up in a couple of those bad starts. But, yeah, they need to – all of a sudden the first time through the order is the hardest to get out for these guys.
Yeah, it's been weird. You're right. That's a good, if not a bit of a bummer point, I guess, on how the season could have gone worse. Because, look, we said this after the opening series, really after those first two games against the Rangers. Like, that's as good as the lineup could possibly look. And it was a blast. Like, it was fun. And I'm not trying to poke holes in all that in real time because I think having the season start in a fun and exciting way is good for business. It's good for talking about. I love it. But also, as of right now, those two games are the anomaly as they went up against a very bad baseball team.
Yeah.
And now they've played a not very good baseball team and a good baseball team, and it's not.
And they've been right in the middle. They won the series against the bad baseball team.
Yep.
They split the one against the not great.
Yep.
And then they're going to lose against the really good.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Hear me out here. This is my proposal. Just until we get out of COVID, maybe just 2021, Major League Baseball teams just play one opponent for like all 162 games, and let's not make it too difficult. We just your bunkmate in spring training, whoever you're housed with. Who's that? Oh, the Rangers. Okay.
Yep.
Just spitballing. Royals Rangers for 162.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, I think that's a great. I mean, I think that you came to that conclusion honestly. I think you're right. You're just trying to go simplest. I would even say, you know what? And maybe the spring training thing is too specific because now they are back at their home stadiums and everything. You look at my AirPods case or the envelope.
No, the AirPods case. That's fan. I didn't know what it was.
It matches not only my pop socket but also my
your
shoes. I am a checkerboard mess. If the spring training bunkmate thing doesn't work, you might have some logistical issues. You could just go with teams that you know, just how you lined up. Let's say at the start of the season. So whoever you open the season against,
sure, let's do that.
That's just the team that you're going up against. The Royals. Who did the Royals open? Because they played. They're in the series with Chicago, and it was Cleveland.
You know what?
Before
it was
that.
The Rangers.
You know. All right. So we've
God
decided.
wants the Royals to play the Rangers,
and so do we. And so do we. I feel like that'd be for the best for everybody right now. I think that would really help their playoff chances. How are you judging the Royals
Harshly.
for this season? I mean, it's fine. Go ahead.
I mean, my win total was a lot less than a lot of people's.
Yeah.
I think I said like 72 or something like that.
So
because last full season they won just 59.
Yeah.
That would be a 13-game improvement. That would be a good improvement.
But so how? I guess. What are you looking for? How are you watching the 2021 Royals? Because that's something that I think. I just hope people hear. I hope that the 7 people listening that hate when this show isn't sportsy enough hear me try and then give up. Because I will give up.
Yeah.
But I occasionally do try. I just want people to know that. You gonna talk more about your kids' baseball games, Mick?
Sure.
Or your basketball tournament?
Sure, absolutely. I'm all about kids sport. 90% of my wardrobe is my kids' schools or sports teams or whatever. That's all I wear.
In your sizes.
Right, yes,
Okay.
in my sizes. My 9-year-old daughters, I don't put on her softball pants.
Well, have you tried them?
Yeah, I think they're husky. So,
stretchy?
Yeah.
They can be comfortable. Baseball pants are great. Baseball pants are like historically like comfy pants.
No, but everything is what do they call it? Spirit wear. I got a lot of spirit wear.
You're wearing some spirit wear right now. One team, one family, Mill Valley Jaguars. That came out of a catalog for sure, right?
Well, I mean, we're two-time defending state champs, so if you're going to make fun of Mill Valley, you're going to make fun of everybody. So
making fun. I was over here admiring it. I was asking, is that from a catalog, and do you have it on you?
No, the team thought of this slogan, I'm sure, themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. When's the last time you bought, we talk about your shoes pretty much every week. When's the last time you added to your wardrobe that wasn't TV, apparel, or spirit wear?
Oh, wow. Great question.
Thank you.
Great question.
Those are your two categories.
Holy crap. So it would have to be, I'm glad you didn't say golf wear. So I'll get some golf polos and get some shorts. And then I recently got some blue golf pants on the way back from 810 over at Golf Galaxy. I don't know if they're a sponsor or not, if they have a competing company that sponsors here, but that's the truth. That's what happened.
Why don't you give them my card next time you go over there and tell them they can sponsor this hour?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get you some free. Listen, I'm like, you know what? That was kind of a joke, and then it got very much not a joke very quickly. Okay, so there are three. There's the meme going around right now of different actors saying like they understood the assignment, and it's like Gary Oldman in 4 drastically different roles or whatever, killing all of them. You have 3 roles that you can crush, which is TV anchor, golf course, sports parent.
That's my existence right
and then
there.
Maybe
There's nothing else.
If you needed a 4th one, poolside, I guess.
Poolside, yeah.
I could see I think poolside Nick.
We call it FAP. Friday at the pool.
I would suggest FATP probably if you're gonna do an acronym.
Well, and really the at could be dropped too, but a lot of times
I think
the
FP,
isn't included in the acronym.
I think FP is better.
FP, yeah,
FP is probably better for reasons.
Yeah, no, I have a poolside existence as well.
So we've got the Mick Shaffer action figure comes with 4 outfits.
4 outfits.
News anchor, sports dad, golfing, and let's just turn the acronym into a phrase, and then we'll say like Fap Mick.
Fap Mick.
Yeah.
That might be it. I mean, does
So what's the action feature of this action figure?
Don't ask about the last one. Don't ask about the last one. He's at a pool. It's swimming.
Is there a radio outfit?
It looks like it's sports dad to me.
Yeah,
I think, or golf.
Or whatever I'm doing next is usually.
You've probably been in here in a collared shirt when you've got a thing to go do afterwards.
When I've got a lot of stuff to do, I don't think of like, oh, but I've got radio.
I was about to say the only one you haven't showed up in before is in a swimsuit, and that's not true. There was a Sports Saturday. Remember when Mick used to host sports? I kind of forgot that happened.
Sad time in my life.
I get it. You can hear me tomorrow morning on Baseball Tonight here, Saturday at noon here on Sports Radio 810. You absolutely came in to do a Sports Saturday one day wearing some pineapple swim trunks.
That's right. Yep.
So you have brought all 4 versions of your action figure to do radio, which I think is fitting. Because I think if you have a radio-specific outfit, it's a little sad, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe you don't have. Do you know what radio is? I mean, have you ever do you know what a radio does? It doesn't broadcast images of yourself. So yeah, I would ask that question if you have a radio outfit. You clearly don't.
It's just I've got this. Is just I open my wardrobe and I close my eyes and I grab 3 items and I
they
throw
all
them
matched
on.
Actually.
They do. I usually can find a color palette.
Actually, I maintain you're one of those guys that takes 3 hours to make it look like you spent 3 minutes getting ready.
I would say I spent 30 minutes making it look like I spent 3 minutes. I'll split the difference with you.
Okay.
Do we need to take another break, Beards? I'm pulling up the. We could. You want to do it now, Beards?
Sure, that works.
Well, you sent me. Here's the thing: is you sent me a link.
I did,
and I'm trying to figure out. What this is. This is about Deshaun Watson. We're not going to do that. We'll take a break, and I'm going to ignore Beards' text.
At JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy. At Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
You can keep your grass green and lush all year long with a new sprinkler system from Summit Lawn and Landscape. Call Summit Lawn and Landscape today at 816-966-9434 to design a water-efficient system for your home and never drag a hose again. 816-966-9434. Summit Lawn and Landscape provides complete lawn maintenance including mowing, fertilization, and landscape installation, maintenance, and design. Call 816-966-9434 or go to summitlawn.com.
The American dream, home ownership. Now, is that true? Sometimes owning a house can be a problem, an ugly problem. Repairs, taxes, just mowing the yard. What we've learned is with every ugly problem, there's a beautiful solution. Let us be that solution. WeBuyUglyHouses.com. Call us today. We're the We Buy Ugly Houses people. 1-800-44-BUYER or WeBuyUglyHouses.com. Call us today. Get rid of that ugly problem. 1-800-44-BUYER. We're the real ugly house guys.
Harry's Razors just came out with their sharpest blades ever. But unlike other razor companies, they're not charging you more. Harry's new sharper blades are still as low as $2 each. You heard me right, just $2. How do they do it? Harry's owns a German factory that's been honing razor blades for 100 years. They source their steel from Sweden and own the entire manufacturing process, from research and development to the factory floor. It allows them to keep the prices lower. How confident are they? A 100% quality guarantee. You'll see it at harrys.com. Blades are even delivered directly to you. No getting unmasked and standing in line. They're delivered straight to your door, with or without a subscription. And right now, Harry's has a great offer for my listeners. New customers get $5 off a Harry's trial set when you use the promo code PETRO, P-E-T-R-O, at harrys.com. That's a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and travel cover, all for just $3, plus free shipping. That's razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and travel cover, all for $3, shipped to you for free. Only at harrys.com, only with promo code PETRO.
Saturday on the NBA on ESPN Radio.
Layup is good. Schroeder with 19 on another layup. Is relentless.
An injury-plagued Lakers squad finds itself right in the middle of a 7-game road trip that takes them to Brooklyn to face the Nets.
Over to Irving. Red hot to start the third. Yep. Knocks down another triple. The place is here. The time is now. Top of the world and I can't come down.
The Lakers and Nets, Saturday on your home for the NBA Finals. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey everyone, Les Norman here, host of the Breaking the Norm show. Since '95, I've made KC my home, and since then, I've seen a World Series champion in 15, a Super Bowl champion in 20, and the greatest fans supporting both. It's the people that make me proud to call KC home. You're passionate about your teams and each other. During this crazy time, keep caring for and loving each other. And thank you for making KC not only the greatest sports city, but also the most caring and helpful place to watch sports. Stay healthy, be safe, don't panic, and keep loving each other well.
Hey, it's Lebo here for CertaPro Painters. You know, now is a great time to update your home. Whether it's a new look inside or some exterior protection for this harsh KC climate, there's no better place to go than CertaPro. You can give them a call at 1-800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com to schedule your free estimate. Now, they have knocked it out of the park every time I've used them. Inside my home or outside where my paint job still looks great. Their attention to detail is outstanding, from the estimate through the prep work, the job itself, and especially on cleanup. Worry-free all the way. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so they're local business owners right here in our community. They do it all. Premier quality products with competitive pricing, plus a great warranty. So what are you waiting for? Give them a call right now at 1-800-GO-CERTA. That's 1-800-GO-CERTA. Experience the CertaPro Painters difference for yourself. They don't consider the job finished until you're completely satisfied. It's CertaPro Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
The more dead puppies there are in the world, the more that's going to dilute the cuteness of the puppies that we have right now. Less puppies means more cute, okay? They said it in Incredibles.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Last segment of the hour, last hour of the week, last show of the week. Mick Shaffer, 41 Action News, here with us for a few more minutes. Talking about action figures, outfits, fashion.
What are those little things
French fries.
you can make, the three-dimensional, the dubes? Is that it, of yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we've got some dupes.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen them around here.
Yeah.
We got I think they are called something else now.
They are.
Hold on. I have the card. I literally have the card in my backpack. It's one of those things I've been meaning to follow up on for a little while now. You okay, Mick? You're like shaking out your hands in a way.
So Thursday's my last day of the week for TV, right? I come in and I do
3D HQ now is the name of the place that makes your little thingies.
Hours
Good
of
people.
radio.
Hours and hours of radio.
But I'll get home at like 11 o'clock, 11:30 on a Thursday, and my week's over. So I'm like, you know what? I want to have a little cocktail, have a little snack, right? A little nightcap, a little week. cap, if you will. I know you will.
I will.
So I did, and I started watching some Netflix, and next thing I know, it's 3:15, and I'm still watching Netflix, or it's still on, and the drink's still in hand, and so I didn't get as much sleep as I should have last night.
All right, so double barrel question here. What were you watching, and what was the nightcap? I think you can learn a lot about someone's last drink.
This was the nightcap was Sailor Jerry and Coke.
Great, absolutely love. That's a spiced rum.
Spiced rum.
I'm personally end up being a little Captain Morgan boy most of the time, but you give me a big jug of spiced rum, ooh baby,
woo! And then I watched the real story of White Boy Rick. You heard about that?
No.
I think Matthew McConaughey made a movie about him, and this supposed teenage drug white kingpin in Detroit back in the 1980s, and he is the longest serving inmate for a juvenile nonviolent crime in history. Like he's still in jail from like the 1980s for like drugs, basically possessing too much drugs.
Yeah, so
and he kind of got railroaded.
I saw
White Boy Rick.
I think I saw a trailer for this.
It's on Hulu. It has Matthew McConaughey and Jennifer Jason Leigh.
But yeah, that's the movie. I watched the documentary.
Okay.
That's on Netflix.
Interesting. Huh. All right. And would you recommend it?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the movie also? Do you have a preference? Okay.
I haven't. I might now.
Is it
Hulu?
Is it a documentary that's like a nice tight like hour and a half, or is it like a 7-part?
Like hour 20. Yeah,
I can get in on that. That seems. I understand the appeal, the flexibility that comes with a 7-part docuseries. I don't necessarily have the attention span or the time for that most of the time.
Yeah.
So I just need you to, if you can't tell me that, listen here, Last Dance. If you can tell me that Michael Jordan was a bleep hole and he was really good at basketball in less than 9 hours or whatever it ended up being.
Yeah.
I think I could have gotten that in a
Somebody
little
had a
smaller
tweet
package.
the other day. It was the 2 Oprah memes, and it said 2-hour movie, and it's Oprah throwing her hands up like this. 10-hour, 10-part miniseries, and it's Oprah like listening intently. Right.
So what is what's the best thing that you've watched? If it's that, then I'll take your second best thing. No, within in the last week or month or whatever.
I watched the Murder Among Mormons.
Boy, that seems like something Renee would absolutely love.
How do you not know about this stuff? You have nothing going on in your life. Plenty of time for Netflix.
That's exactly right. You're telling me the truth. I'm also not a huge true crime.
Oh, that's the biggest genre
but
for me.
It's Renee's absolute favorite thing. You can stop saying goodbye to my mom at the end of the show, and you can start seeing if Renee wants to come over and watch crime documentaries.
Absolutely. Give me the true crime documentaries.
Yeah.
All about it. I mean, back in the day, it was so easy to murder somebody. They didn't have cameras all over the place.
Absolutely.
Nobody had phones. Nobody's tracking anybody. Like, if you got caught murdering somebody, you were just a sucky murderer.
Absolutely. You could leave behind a pool of your own blood, and until 9 minutes ago,
everybody has red blood.
Oh,
so
hey, this is
what
blood.
are we gonna do?
This could be from a butcher shop. This could be pig's blood on the ground.
don't know.
Until I'm pretty sure, 2012, we had no way of even finding out if blood was human or
It's
not.
a bad time to murder people now.
You can't murder people.
No.
It's just now it's just that you're playing on super hard new game plus mode. Like, it's just you could murder anybody until at least the
funniest
60s?
thing, even the 80s, I think. My funniest thing in from Learn Funniest Best on the Zone this week was from Murder Among Mormons, because they asked this old Mormon dude who had worked with this con artist, this guy that had forged a bunch of documents, right?
Yeah.
And he said he was amazing at it. He was impossibly good. He goes, it was like working with the Michael Jordan. Hold on, the Michael Jordan of forgers. It was like playing with Michael Jordan. It was like playing with Brett Favre. It was like playing with Ryan Sandberg. And I'm like, you just got progressively worse on your star athletes, right? Brett Favre, I can give you, okay, but probably not even a top 5 quarterback of all time.
Right.
Where's your Tom Brady reference, right? Give me a Joe Montana, right? Something like that. Jim Brown, we're talking about the greatest football players ever, and then Ryan Sandberg.
Ryan Sandberg, the Michael
we
Jordan
went
of
with
baseball.
A second baseman from the Cubs in the 80s. What are we doing?
He clearly
you
went.
said Mickey. You said Babe Ruth.
The Babe Ruth.
How's Babe Ruth not mentioned?
Clearly, what I think that guy showed you there is that he started with a sport he was most familiar with, and then just took a step down and a step down, and ended up at Brett Favre, Ryan Sandberg.
So we deduced that he's clearly from Chicago.
Gotta be.
Because he loves Ryan Sandberg, loves Michael Jordan, and Brett Favre used to beat the crap out of the Bears all the time.
Great point.
So
and there's not a Bears quarterback.
There's no Bears quarterback.
That is such a good point. Yeah, because if you're a Bears fan trying to come up with the best quarterback that has been in your hemisphere,
undefeated against us.
It's Brett Favre, because all he ever did was dunk on your terrible team. You can't say he was the Rex Grossman of forgeries, because that does not imply a whole lot of success.
Jay Cutler forgeries.
Jay Cutler. What were they forging?
Mormon documents. It's like apparently this big, dangerous industry was Mormon document trading and selling. Like also, so
what's a Mormon document?
Well, like Mormonism is a really, really new religion, like from the 1800s.
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of them were like Joseph Smith's letters, his mom's letters.
Interesting.
Stuff like that. There's scripture that's involved, and a lot of it was, as it turns out, just made up crap that people would pay a lot of money for.
That doesn't seem possible.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something I watched recently, Josh.
Thank you for that.
You bet.
That was really. I'm glad to know about both of these
If my
shows.
homework for this show is just watching stuff on Netflix, then I'm your guy. I'm your Michael Jordan. I'm your Brett Favre. I'm your Ryan Sandberg, all rolled up into one. By the way, it's Ryan Sandberg. It's not Ryan. It's Ryan.
I will screw that up forever.
But regardless,
I will say if you can just watch a Netflix doc and try to get some of those 3 and 2 fries and just report back. Just report. Tell me that they're still magical.
They play on Friday nights. I could go get some and bring them
back.
Studio.
Can I Uber Eats or like Postmates or DoorDash 3 and 2 Man, I would murder someone in the 60s for an icy instant 3 and 2 fries right now. This was wonderful.
You get off. You get off. They wouldn't catch you.
I would not be convicted.
Right. That was a better way of saying it.
Mick Shaffer, 41 Action News. Say bye to my mom.
Hey, Renee.
No.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.